Alright, we should be live. Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing this fine day? Hope you're doing fantastic, everyone. I have to change out a couple things here. Yeah, the stream was a little on the spot. So, there we go. If you guys are interested in what that last image was, that was the previous open mic. Feel free to check it out. I covered the whole Radhom versus Arch debate. It's a two-parter. It's very long, but hopefully you guys will want to check it out. But anyway, welcome, welcome. Make sure to leave a like on the stream, show your support, share it around if you would be so kind. Today we're going to be talking about Hellstorm Wargaming, who has blocked me on Twitter. Is he also currently streaming right now? Let me pull it up. He's currently streaming right now talking about scalping. Now, it's a perfectly fine stream to have. It's very prevalent in the community, these issues with scalping. Certainly a good issue to talk about. What's interesting to me is on that stream, let me mute him. On that stream, you guys can't really see it, so let me drag it over here. His stream is in an interesting status at the moment. It's in a very interesting status at the moment. It's a very interesting mode he's got set up, isn't it? Subscriber only. Subscriber only. Welcome Daniel Lindsay. Welcome James Knight. And welcome Zolfi. Well, that's weird. Why is he in subscriber only mode? Well, a little bit of context. Let's see if he still has it up. So yesterday, or sorry, 2 days ago, he decided to do a live stream on the topic of female space marines. Ooh, and that ratio doesn't look very good. So with a ratio like that, did he support female space marines or was he against female space marines? Well, he was definitely for them, and he was very mask off with the reasons why. The reasons he was in support for them were, quite simply, oh, well, they weren't his reasons as much as his wife's. His wife took over the stream and more or less ranted about her politics for, I want to say, a good chunk of it, especially towards the end. Let's see here. Where did she take over? I know she was taking over for part of it. I might also have the wrong stream. But I know that she hopped on during the stream and ranted about her politics. Oh, it might be the wrong stream. Yeah, apparently it was a different stream that did that. Okay, but anyway, this stream alone was still pretty bad. So, yeah, he had bullshit to say. And I called him out on it in my video on it. My video, which is doing significantly better than his. Ooh, again, I look at that ratio. 95 likes is 279 dislikes. And keep in mind that the Google add-on I'm using to see the dislikes, the return to YouTube dislike, lowballs the number. So 279 dislikes, that is a lowball of what it actually is. Welcome, Steve's Treasure. Welcome, Bartrick. Welcome, Lord Metal. Welcome, James Knighton. Welcome, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, yeah, yesterday I covered the whole topic, and I covered the article first that he was referencing throughout his video, which was from the Wargamer, which talk about a ratio there, but we're here to mainly talk about Hellstorm Wargaming. And in it, it was basically them reiterating once again, that they want female space marines. Their reasons? Well, they didn't use the traditional ones, as has been laid out, because the traditional ones have been defeated so often and so regularly that they're finally moving the goalpost yet again to a new reason. And this time, I think for the first time, we're getting the honest reason. And on his stream, I covered it. Let me jump to that spot. Reason? It's because it's the poster boys. Doesn't matter that we do have female representation. Doesn't matter we have strong female representation. Doesn't matter we have fun female representation. It's not about representation. It's not about women. It's not about any of that. What is it about? It's about control. It's about manipulation. It's about subversion. Outright admitted it. So I called him out on that, but I invited him on the show. And I said I would be cordial, and I would let him voice his opinion. And my official response to that from him was this. I got blocked. I guess I win. If you want to surrender like that, good Mikey, you could have just sent me flowers. But yes, that's some interesting evolutions that are going on. So, my opinions on this are pretty straightforward. Yet again, we have another piece of shit who likes to pretend that he's something special, something good, something cool. But in fact, he is just another ideologue activist that is being led around by the balls. Except, to be sympathetic somewhat, it's by his own wife, who cucked him on his own stream. I do hope she at least lets him watch. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. Throwing shit aside, let me welcome more people coming in. The Iron Mega. They want the Poster Boy faction to be femme. Enough said. Exactly. Undead Nerd, welcome. Hey, Donatos Afiel. Afael. I keep fucking that up. Welcome. He has no balls. Correct. His wife has them in her purse. So that's pretty typical of leftness. It is very typical. He's got mommy issues for sure. He's got wife issues. He's got some wife issues. Wouldn't surprise me if underneath that he's also got mommy issues. Oh god. So yeah, on today's open mic, by the way, the link is in the description if you guys would like to come on and voice your opinion about this oh so charming individual. And also if you'd like to voice your opinion about this whole situation that's been going on the last couple days with the new Femmarine stuff. Yeah, I'd love to hear your guys' opinion. So let me do this. I'm gonna close the display capture, and the open mic is already immediately available. And holy shit, I got people waiting. All right, so I guess without further ado, we're gonna immediately jump into bringing people on. We're gonna bring in Lady Runesong first and foremost. Hello, my dear. How you doing? Hi. Make sure your audio is coming through. You say hi again. Oh, it is not. Hold on. Let me fix that. Okay. One more time.
How about now?
There we go. Sorry about that. Welcome.
No worries.
So, what are your thoughts on either the overarching situation with the Wargamer article and the fresh push for female Space Marines, or specifically Hellstorm Mikey and Hellstorm Wargaming?
The whole thing is ridiculous. I think the only reason we're even hearing from people like Hellstorm and such is because they saw the article and they're all just hopping on the clout train, trying to make sure people understand, like, you know, oh, I'm totally in support of the female Space Marine thing. I didn't see Hellstorm stream. I just hear bits and pieces from people.
You don't need to. It's by all means, I will say this for the audience. By all means, I am not one to claim to put words in other people's mouths. I do paraphrase with my own flavoring all the time. But I always, and will always, recommend to people to check out the original content that I satirize, mock, belittle, and or cover. Yeah. I always recommend that because at the end of the day, the person's whose opinion is most important and most valid to you is your own, so always formulate it with all the information you can. But That being said, it is not worth the watch, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's been ridiculous to see the whole thing, although also kind of funny seeing like the ratios and everything. And I don't know, I guess people like him just don't want to accept that women have, on average, much different interests than men, and that it's okay. You don't need to change the hobby to chase a demographic that isn't going to get involved anyway.
Exactly.
And Yeah, I feel bad if it's people who they do know women who are like, oh, I can't play unless there are more female characters. I don't know why they would feel that way. I feel like that just displays some fragile femininity if you, I guess, feel uncomfortable participating unless you uh, see yourself reflected on the board. But most women who are serious about the hobby, they prefer like playing all the monsters and the big guys in armor, and they like it that way.
Exactly.
Sometimes,
I don't know if
sometimes we
you'll.
play this kind of.
Oh, go
Hmm?
ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, just that sometimes we play this sort of thing, us tomboys, even though people want to pretend we don't exist. Um, us tomboys like participating in that sort of thing because it helps us escape from, like, the drama of other women.
I'm not gonna comment. I will not agree on that one. I will not comment. But yeah, that's the thing. That's an interesting point you bring up, though, is like the monsters thing. I've noticed, and I don't know if you'll agree with this, and I don't know what armies you play, or if you collect, or if you're just in the lore. But what I've noticed with the women in the hobby, a lot of them end up playing Xenos factions. I've seen a lot of women play orcs, and I've seen even more play Tyranids. Like that seems to be like the combo I see ladies drawn to the most. The majority of Sisters of Battle players I've met have been men, interestingly enough.
Yeah, I can't say I know any sisters players who are women. I have seen them, but I don't know any. Yeah, I can't explain it. I guess there's just something cool and fascinating about the more monstrous factions. I don't personally get the appeal of Tyranids, but I grew up a huge Transformers fan, so I love the Necrons. I've got one Overlord that I need to assemble, and hopefully I can get him his own army. Um, and yeah, like for whatever reason, we just tend to prefer the uh, more monster-like factions. And when we do play Space Marines, it's because we like it the way they are.
Yeah, like a real fan, a woman fan like yourself, is actually drawn to the existing elements to the universe, as a fan would be. Like it's what's already there that attracts you.
Yeah.
It's not this pushing of things that have to, quote unquote, relate to you more. And
Hmm.
this is a little bit of speculation on my part for like why women I think are drawn to like the more monstrous factions. I think it's because it doesn't relate to you. Like for me, and I think a lot of players of any game, this goes beyond just tabletop games. This goes beyond 40k. I think like why people play characters or play individuals that are vastly different from themselves in games is because we're not like that, and it's a safe like simulation of acting like someone else or acting like something else. It's a cool little escapism thing. That in fact the
Yeah.
opposite of what they claim draws people in is in fact what draws people in. It's what isn't like you that you want to engage in. It's because it's an exploration of the unfamiliar. It's just if something is just an exact mirror of you, what do you gain? What value is there in engaging in it and consuming it?
Hmm. It's similar to like character creation in RPGs. Um, Sometimes I'll just play a human character, but other times I enjoy playing like the robots. A lot of my RPG characters are men just because I don't feel like playing me. Um, and I remember hearing a friend asking once, like, "Oh, why'd you go with a boring old human character? Don't you want to play the alien or the elf or whatever?" And yeah, like everyone has different tastes, but if you get the chance to play something non-human, like why not go for it? It's different from you. It's escapism.
Exactly, and it's beautiful to see, and it's what brings people together is that exploration of something different from yourself and doing it with friends and kind of bouncing ideas and bouncing interpretations off of each other. That's what makes it so engaging.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think that's kind of the beautiful irony of this stuff with Hellstorm and the wider femme-marine debate is, and the basis of it for so long has been the claim that it's so women feel more welcome. or any like marginalized group feels more welcome, when in fact catering to who they are on a day-to-day, like if they want to interact with who they are on a day-to-day, they just need a mirror.
Yeah.
So
If they wanted to see, like, if women wanted to see themselves in a story, they just go back to engaging with like their slice of life manga.
I have a few of those. Technically I only have one slice of life, but anyway. So is there anything else you'd like to bring up in regards to the situation?
Not really. It is funny seeing I guess one thing I'll touch on is like my only involvement with this at the moment was I noticed that Hellstorm had started making fun of people based on whether or not they have like their faces for profile pictures, and how kind of unfair it is. I noticed that when it comes to like the female space marine argument, or really any debate in the Warhammer community, you get so many people on the so-called tolerant side who keep demanding faces, and I don't think anybody's obligated to put whatever you say they should in their profile pictures. But I don't blame people for not wanting to have selfies and stuff public, from like when you've got the threat of these people wanting to dox you. This was before my time, but trying to dox a GW employee, and threatening to beat people up at their game stores. And yeah, they keep claiming that they want to make the hobby safer for me or anyone else they think is marginalized, and it's all fake. They're the ones that are making it unsafe.
Entirely correct. You're spot on. In fact, I myself, in my coverage of this situation, I tweeted a quote tweet in response to the Wargamer article, which, by the way, completely ratioed the Wargamer article, but pettiness aside.
Excellent.
The vast majority of the 30 or so replies I got to it, a good chunk of them were either going after my physical appearance or were trying to insinuate things about my character. Now, the second one is unsurprising. They would do that regardless of profile pic or profile description or anything like that. But I found it interesting that because there are pictures of me, I am a public figure. It was a fascinating showcase of hypocrisy and also complete breakdown of their supposed morals, because this is the same group that tend to flow into circles like body positivity. They also try to flow into circles of anti-bullying campaigns, and they claim to be the more altruistic group, and they claim that to be the reasons for their actions. But you're right, it's a smokescreen for the actions that they perform, that they uphold. And it's interesting to see that the moment that you disagree, all of those morals that they supposedly are proponents of go out the window, and they can use the very things that they claim are so evil and so bad that people have supposedly done to them. They immediately throw it onto people who simply disagree. Like, people were one good example. I have to scroll through the degeneracy for a second here. Hold on. Let me see here. Well, one of them was like a feeble wee child in response to me. Let's see, this might be one of them. I've been playing since the early 2010s, and you and your lackeys really don't speak for the fandom. You're just a parasite thinking you're fighting a non-existent war. Why don't you leave if you're going to be such a whiny baby? Haven't you read the boxes? No 3-year-olds.
Wow.
Yeah, they say stuff like that. And this is the party, this is the group that claim to be altruistic. They claim to be fighting for the marginalized. They claim to be standing up for the little guy. And this is another one. Looks like frumpy bitches taking out their daddy issues on fandoms again. So there's that one. There was also one that made aspersions about my like fat cheeks and stuff like that, which was kind of comical.
Wow.
Generally speaking, a
Bit
lot
ironic
of the response...
considering some of them.
Oh yeah, the responses going into like the physical appearance attacks has been quite frequent in my response, my replies. So yes, this is an active cancerous element to the group that are posing themselves as altruistic, but in fact showcase through that lack of altruism that they're really the opposite of everything they claim to stand for.
Mm-hmm.
So
and both sides make fun. Yeah. And both sides make fun, but I've not been able to take it seriously since that time they got a hold of Bits's Bitshammer's selfie and they thought it was grim and they just tore him to pieces. So I can't take it seriously anymore.
Yeah, it's all just a comedy. A dark comedy, but a comedy. I want to thank you so much for coming on, Lady Runesong. Thank you so much. It's amazing having you lend your voice to the conversation.
Awesome to be here. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, I think I've listed who's next. I left Bartrick waiting a bit long, but if you want to come on again, if you have other stuff you want to bring up, feel free to jump back in to the call lines. I'd love to have you on as much or as little as you want.
Yeah, will do.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. We have a very strong start. With guests, so Bartrick's going to have a little bit of follow-up here. Asma just needs a gif of him eating a cheeseburger, looking deadpan at the camera, and just say, and? There's already a gif of me on one of the Discords I'm on, which is me looking dead inside, and they've been using that quite frequently. Alright, real quick before I pull in Bartrick, let me welcome some people. And also, 34 people watching, but only 13 likes. Come on, guys, press the like button. It's free. It's free. Let's see. CDAT, welcome to the stream. Maddie Dwow, welcome to the stream. Homeless Stone, welcome to the stream. Hoch Dai Anarchy, welcome to the stream. Havoc, welcome to the stream. And Overlord Inquisitor, welcome to the stream. Welcome, all you amazing human beings. Welcome, welcome, and welcome. All right, we're going to pull on our next caller. That would be Bartrick. Hello?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you just fine. How you doing, my man?
Can't complain. Yourself?
I'm doing pretty good, we had a really strong first caller, and I'm enthusiastic.
Of course, I've listened to it.
Yes.
Yeah, no, Lady Runesong, she's a wonderful person. Wonderful person.
Very fantastic. One of the peaks of the community, for sure.
Oh, definitely for sure.
So, what is your take on this situation? And again, you can approach it from the broader conversation about, yet again, the push for Femmarines being reintroduced, or you can target it from specifically the Hellstorm Wargaming and his cowardice, I shall put it.
Well, for the most part, I have no idea who this Hellstorm feller is to begin. This is the first time I'm hearing about him, to be frank.
He is a larger creator than me, but only in sub count. It doesn't seem like his views are necessarily reflecting it fully.
Yeah. Considering the fact that, how should I put this? When it comes to advocation of female space marines, it's utter bullshit. Like, how many times have we kept fighting about this topic? I mean, I recently made a article involving a Sister of Battle that had to say this is bullshit. This is ridiculous, I swear.
It's a very overwhelming amount of, and I think that's their tactic. I think that's the pro-Femmarine crowd's tactic. They think if they push the issue more and more, that'll actually give them ground, when they fail to realize that you can push an issue as much as you want, you could do it as fervently as you want, but if it has no foundation, if it has no support from the greater community you're pushing it into, then it won't actually gain any ground. And what makes it worse and what makes them keep going at it is they're in a echo chamber on Twitter, which is seemingly their home base for most of this crap, if not Reddit. Like, both of those locations seem to be either their home bases, and that's where they try to push it the most. But the moment they deviate from those places, where because they're in those echo chambers, they think that they're the majority, and they think if you saw Radhom's debate with Arch.
Don't even get me started on that, Carney. I have no respect.
Exactly. But in that debate, he told Arch, he's like, your corner of the community is tiny. Now, of course, he's wrong about that, but with this, if you listen to him, he was certain when he said that. Like, there was no hesitation, there was no double glances to the side, there was no quiver in his voice. He was confident, 100%, that we were the minority, which is very interesting considering my experience with it has been the opposite. It's been the vast opposite.
Quite.
We are very much...
I mean, for the most part, in my experience, when I first came a while back last year on Twitter and tried to make myself known, more or less, I've noticed that this argument has been going on for quite a long time, and for the most part, and for the life of me, the issue, it's like some of these people believe that they have the power. They don't. They honestly are losing it constantly, day in and day out. They are a joke. I mean, basically, memes and jokes are the kryptonite. They can't argue with jokes. They can't handle it. Not to mention the fact that when they believe that we're the minority, when he said that, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" You remember that what was it called? When Major Kill made the what's it called? The voting thing for anybody who wants female Space Marines and who don't want female Space Marines. Yeah, the poll. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and that number exceeded over those who wanted female Space Marines. It's incredible that he believes that people in his side of Wokehammer, that they have the power, when in reality, they're, as you said, they are an echo chamber. They are stuck in their little world and believe that the whole wide world is empty and vastless with nothing but small, insignificant people. When in reality, they are that insignificant. They have no cultural power anymore. It's ridiculous. And at the end of the day, at first, maybe back a few years back, maybe they had the power, but right now they're losing it. They're losing their minds, and every day I'm just laughing. Incredibly, the stupidity is incredibly strong with them. And after the Radholm, and let's be real, I agree with you that there was some issues there that could have been better, but Radholm, he's nothing more than Carney. He's not just Carney, but he is incapable to understand that the whole world does not revolve around them. They are not important. I'm not important. You're not important. At the end of the day, we're all part of a massive collective of Terra, and at the end of the day, we have to live for our own selves. We have to have our own individuality, our own voice. But at the end of the day, some of these people are actual cultists. I have no genuine respect for them. It's incredible how just evil they can be. Or not evil, but more, they're unstable mentally, emotionally. And with Hellstorm,
I'm gonna steel man you saying evil. I agree with you. I do think their actions are objectively evil.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to stop you, but did you say steel man?
Yes.
Can you describe the term? This is the first time I'm hearing this.
Okay. So you're familiar with straw manning, yes?
Oh, of course.
Steel manning is the opposite.
Ah, okay.
So steel manning is reinforcing an argument and doing so firmly. It's providing a reinforcement of an argument.
Okay.
So that's what steel manning is.
All right. Sorry to stop you with your
talk.
I was just curious.
So to steel man that comment about you saying that they're evil,
yeah.
They are in fact evil. Because when we look at what evil is evil not maliciousness? Is it not the attempt to dissuade and push people from a path of positivity and improvement for their life? Is evil not the embrace of darker hedonism and selfishness and narcissism? Like, when we look at that, I think what they do is in fact evil. Like, they are oppressing and pushing people from a path of escapism, a path of self-improvement, of mental health, which is very much what hobbies like 40k are for. They're to give people an escape. They're to give people a break from the day-to-day pressures and the stresses. It's not, I don't think it's an extreme to say that robbing someone of that, preventing them from escaping intentionally, with that being the objective, and intentionally like bullying and harassing and oppressing people as they do on a day-to-day to conform to their ideals, is this not what we would describe evil? Is this not why when we think of Nazis or we think of Stalinist Russia, we think of evil people, we think of evil figures? Is that not what they did? Now, yes, these people aren't, that bad yet. They're not, I wouldn't say they're pure evil. They're just a bunch of keyboard warriors after all. None of them are guarding internment camps or forcing people to work in mines quite yet. But if they were given the opportunity to do that to people like us, would they? Yeah, absolutely. They've said it outright quite often. So I think evil is a fair way to describe the woke left and to describe the activist ideologues on Twitter and other places like this. They are very evil.
Yeah, I mean, considering the fact that they always call that Chudhammers, this racist, bigoted, and whatever, but at the end of the day, they destroyed the meaning. They destroyed everything, the bad parts of society, and just made it into a different definition to where it's meaningless. There's a concept that I think Dev from Short Fat Otaku described it as a change of vernacular or a change of definition or something like that. But the thing is the woke hammer, and you're right, they are generally evil. Maybe what's the word I'm looking for? They are malicious in their own right, because if you look at Bits, you look at Lynn, you look at Shay, and all the others who are in that category of maliciousness, they're narcissistic. They believe chaos is good, when reality we know the truth of chaos, and half of them believe that, the Imperium is fascist and the rest of the world is a victim. But reality, when you read the lore, humanity is the true victim. That they have to tolerate the Xenos that betray them. They have to tolerate the same Xenos that try to eat them. They're at constant war with the Orcs. They have to deal with the genocide from the Necrons half the time when they first came in. And they had to deal with the traitorous, ruinous, the keyword, ruinous powers of chaos. And with the Eldar, it's just blatant racism. And Drukhari, slavery mixed in with, let's turn your skin into couch and your bone into a needle press. But, and the towel, gaslighting, essentially.
Yeah, I will say this. Like, I think if you're a fan of those things, it doesn't necessarily mean... I'm focusing on the real world.
No, you misunderstood. If you're a fan of a certain faction, they're cool. By themselves, they're cool.
Yeah.
But the problem is that when you apply the real world aspect into the hobby, then it becomes a problem. Then you're basically leaning into the whole, what's the word? You're leaning into the stereotypes that you are perpetrating. I mean, hell, I still recall that recently, however, they said that, the chaos cultists are actually Jews or some shit like that. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? Now, if you want to do the opposite, that's understandable to a degree.
That stuff, when they do that, by the way, that is far more telling about them. Because they're like, see, these are clearly Jews, and the rest of us with an inkling of sanity, we're like, wait, how? Even remotely, how? It's like, they're clearly Jewish because they're greedy and big-nosed, and we're just over here like, so you think Jewish people are greedy, big-nosed monsters? I'm sorry, that's not how I interpreted what a Jewish person was.
I mean, considering the fact that they would say that originally one person from Wokehammer saying, the Tyranids are Jews because they're always being attacked by the Imperium and genocide, blah, 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 fucking... And then you got Bits just agreeing with that shit and then adding more layers. It's like, Emperor, protect me. It's just ridiculous with these people.
It is, and it's very tiring, but it's very telling that despite how tiring the argument is, we don't give up, and we don't, surrender the argument, no matter how much they bully or how much they harass us, because at the end of the day, we're empowered by knowing we're on the right side.
Oh, no, that is without a question. I mean, praise the Emperor and the throne. For the most part...
For the Emperor.
Pretty much. But for the most part, I'm not giving up the fight regardless. I mean, with my articles telling the truth, not my truth, the literal truth. So I'm not lying. I never lie.
My hat's off and salute to you for your honorable duty, my friend.
Of Imperator.
Oh, 1 second. Kill Team Hungry, welcome to the stream. Hi everyone, what's going on? Chat, can you like fill him in? Because I don't want to hold up things. So Bartrick, is there? Well, real quick, you were blocked by Hellstorm Wargaming as well, correct?
No. Surprisingly, I haven't.
Surprising.
Because, like I said, first time I ever seen him, any mention of him, it was mostly I know about Wokehammer. I don't know about the individuals unless they have become prominent. The thing is, if we want to destroy Wokehammer, we have to do. How should I put this? Deprive them of their vanity. They're narcissists at best. Deprive them of the vanity, they die slowly. Think of it like this. It's like if you're every day you have to give 1,000 psychers to the throne in order to keep the emperor alive. Now, stop the black ships, what happens?
Everything dies.
Exactly. Think of that concept. It's not a good concept because humanity, or at least in this case, we're not in that situation. But Wokehammer, the whole leftist agenda shit, it's dying. It's dying culturally, and everybody's sick and tired of these people.
It's preventing fuel to the fire.
Mm-hmm. Essentially. And also, yeah, Mountain Dew Baja Blast, it's like a diuretic.
Oh, wow. 1 second. Kaboose, thank you so much for the super chat. We will hold the line. If 40k falls, BattleTech is next. That is true. Actually, they're going after BattleTech at the same time right now, as far as I've seen.
I thought BattleTech has slightly fallen a bit.
There has been a shift with them. Unlike 40k, there has been an out and right, like there was like a trans booklet or something like that.
Right. I heard about that.
Yeah,
I don't know the exact details, but yeah.
I don't know the exact details either, so I could be wrong that that's official. But the artwork I saw looked like it was like on a booklet. So
okay.
Assuming that what I saw for that was what it appeared to be, then it does seem like BattleTech is falling before 40k has, which was a surprise. I would have figured BattleTech would go after us if we took on the brunt of it, since objectively I would argue 40k is more popular, but it seems we're holding the line a bit better.
Yeah, ironically, considering the fact that it's been around since '87. I mean, drugs, sex, rock and roll, and all that shit with Slanesh, and basically all the artwork of Rogue Trader to. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not fully healthy yet, so my coughs aren't interrupting you.
Oh no. That's fine. I hope you feel well. But beside the point, yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's a long-standing series, and the problem some of these people don't realize, you want change? How about in-universe change? Consistent in-universe change. The Primaris, bad release, everybody can agree with that, but it's still a change in the universe. It's slowly retconning. They can argue like, oh, what about the retcons? Okay, some retcons happen, but you know what? Nothing severe changed. We don't have female space marines, and it's never going to happen. That's why you have Age of Sigmar. It's boring, it's unattended, and the armies fighting don't matter, unlike in 40k.
I agree entirely.
Well, it's not about agreement, it's the absolute truth. I mean, I have the
yeah, but I can agree with the truth.
Oh well, fair enough. No, it's because I read the Age of Sigmar general rules book. I've read the RPG, the one that Cube 1 or Cube 7 made, and it like, I like the lore of the factions and such, but the lore of the universe in Age of Sigmar, it just means nothing. It's like what are the risks? What are the rewards? Like what is the point? That's just it for
it has
Age
no
of Sigmar.
teeth.
Yeah, exactly. No teeth, no anything. I will say, though, they have good models, but that's about it.
I will have to agree with that, but that's GW across the board. Like, one thing I think we can all praise GW for is at least the quality of the sculpts and the models.
Yes, that we can do. The only thing I could complain about is, well, two things. Scalpers and
Absolutely.
lower the damn price, GW. You want more people? Lower the fucking price. Pardon the French.
Yeah, a GW executive just heard that and went, I heard up the price. Did you hear up the price? I heard up the price. Okay, up the price.
Okay, it's not, okay, fuck it. It's time for the Horus Heresy. No, we call it the Barrick Heresy. We're going to war, people.
I want to thank you for coming on, man.
Of course.
I got a couple more guests coming in. Looks like someone dropped out of the general waiting room, so.
Yeah, of course.
But thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
No problem. Remember, read Imperial News. We're honest than CNN.
And you can find them on Twitter. All right. So that was Bartrick, everybody. And yeah, he covers Imperial News on Twitter. Really cool. And I regularly read those entries. I probably read that more in the newspaper. So if you're on Twitter, definitely give him a follow.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, take care, people.
Yeah, have a good one, Bartrick. All right, so our next guest, before I pull it on, let me see if there's new people to introduce in the chat. James Knighton jumped in. How you doing? Zoid Industries. Hi, Asmogan. I have a question not exactly related to the subject and can't call in because I am at work. Is it lore-friendly for the Salamanders to accept Primaris, asking out of curiosity? I'd say it's lore-friendly for the most part. As far as and I'm not as much of an expert on Salamanders as I am others. Like, if you ask me Imperial Fist, ask me Black Templars, you ask me for Blood Angels, ask me for any of them, and I could give you definitives. But with Salamanders, as far as I know, there is nothing about their culture that would object to the inclusion of Salamanders. I mean, all chapters that are not Sons of Guilliman would have, on the basis of that, an objection, because they would see it as Primaris. Like, the Primaris are objectively, essentially, the creation of Guilliman and Call. So they would see it as the Ultramarines subverting into their chapter. So from that angle, there would be opposition. But outside of that, as far as I know, culturally, they have no basis to reject them. They would only be a bolster to their numbers. And even back when it comes to like the Codex Astartes and its establishment and Guilliman's, the Salamanders and Vulcan did not object to it. So there's that. So yeah, I do not think they would object to Primaris. Again, outside the angle of Guilliman, of seeing it as Guilliman trying to subvert their chapter and its culture. Welcome, Kill Team Hungry. Greg, oh my god, this shit again. Yes, this shit again. Kaboose, I know more but can't type well. Well, it looks like you're upcoming, so let me catch up with the chat and then we'll pull in Lord Metal. Dr. Doomer, welcome to the stream. Not 40k relates, but they shoved in a whole bunch of female knights into the new Old World book. Yes, I've actually been meaning. I meant to do an open mic on the initial reception on Old World, but that'll have to wait probably till either next week or Thursday maybe. But yes, that doesn't surprise me. Give the guy welcome to the stream. The aesthetics of 40k are more hostile to the leftist sensibilities compared to BattleTech. Offers more immunity. I can't agree with that or disagree with that. Again, my familiarity with BattleTech is nowhere near the level of a proper fan, so I will abstain from commenting. From what I have seen artwork-wise, it does seem BattleTech looks more friendly. So it conjures up vibes of like G.I. Joe meets Transformers to an extent. Again, very, very not in like relation to actual storylines or like how the technology works, but just in like the vibes I get from looking at the artwork. Like, that's me. So it does seem less aversive. If you're like, you're of a if you're more sensitive, disposition, it'll probably definitely look more welcoming, and therefore for the woke, it would look like a nice juicy steak to gnaw upon. All right, so I am going to the Iron Mega. I don't know if I welcomed you earlier or 023, but welcome to you both. All right, Archmagnus or Dr. Sethrin as well. Welcome. BT Black Templar is not as toxic. BattleTech is not as toxic. It also has some fun story parts. I don't know. I'm not gonna jump on you for the BattleTech is not as toxic. I don't know if I would not argue 40k is toxic unless you mean the pro fem marine community making 40k toxic. But as a game and as a setting, I don't think it's toxic. They run into a wall with BattleTech. I will take your verdict of that probably above mine. All right. Anyway, pulling on our next caller, Lord Metalman. Welcome to the stream. How you doing?
Hello, Asmo. How's it going?
Going pretty fantastic. We've had some amazing callers so far, and having you in third, that looks like that trend is going to keep going.
I aim to please.
Fantastic. So, what is your take on this? Either like the greater conversation, the broader stuff of like the fresh assault with the female Space Marines debate, or more specifically, Hellstorm Wargaming?
Well, seeing as not many people have talked about Hellstorm yet, and they're probably going to get a lot of people talking about all the woke stuff, because, I mean, I could talk forever about what they're like on Twitter, man, and I've been experiencing them for the last 3 years now going on into it. It's coming up to 4 years now on bloody Twitter, man. I mean, it's been a fucking wreck with them, but as I said, ever since Elon took over Twitter, it's completely flipped for them, because they used to have this little like bubble that they used to have, because the way Twitter was, there was so little people on Twitter before Elon overtook it, that it was such a, I would say it was a very gated community in a sense, because essentially anyone who had an opinion that wasn't like left of center, or in any way
left.
sort of, yeah, or far left, it was just essentially seen as you're a big bigot Nazi and you need to be locked up and you need to be shamed and all that, and he would hit you with everything, and it was just bad. And then when Elon came in, he bust open those bloody gates. He gave everybody back their bloody accounts, and the amount of people that just didn't bother with Twitter, who were into Warhammer, started coming into Twitter and starting to see this stuff. They just started seeing their numbers flip from them being like the top dogs in every conversation to actually getting some pushback on things. And it's been a hell of a downward spiral for them. But it's been doing this like a slow transition over the last 3-4 years it has been on Twitter. It's probably also to do with the fact that wokeness is dying in most media as well. So it's getting to that sort of stage. As for Hellstorm himself, I can tell you a wee bit of when I first sort of noticed him.
Okay, do tell.
Okay, right. So the very first time I actually noticed him was on Twitter. And it was essentially just the same old, everyday sort of thing of blah, 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 give us female Marines because yada, yada, women can't think for themselves and they need female Marines in order to, I don't know, play the bloody game because learning lore's too hard or some shit. Right? And
that's the thing. I will jump in on that. Learning the lore is not hard at all. And when they talk about it, like, for example, when I was sharing around the excerpt from the Age of Darkness rule book about Space Marines being only male, unironically, one of them actually added Bitshammer, asking him if it was from the Age of Darkness box set. They didn't even know where, the picture was taken from.
I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't know.
I wouldn't have. And it shows... And once I confronted them on that, I'm like, wow, you needed to ask Big Daddy Bits to tell you where this was from. That's what a real fan would do. Like, a real fan doesn't recognize where lore bits come from. And the moment they realized it was the Age of Darkness box set, first off, they made excuses for why they didn't know it and claimed it was because, oh, well, I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with a secondary... subsidiary game to 40k. I only like proper 40k. They downplayed the Horus Heresy, and they were almost acting like it didn't have any relevancy to 40k, which was very funny to me that the Horus Heresy, which is the backdrop lore for almost all of Warhammer 40,000, and you act like it has no impact or relation to 40k proper.
Yeah. It's ridiculous with them, man, and they really don't seem to respect anything of it, but it's because the lore pretty much counters at anything and every one of their arguments. in everything they want, because they want, as said, you know why they want the poster boys. They want the poster boys because you have them
Control.
on the front cover. Then yeah, they can influence it.
Yeah, exactly. Like you take the poster boys, you take control of the hobby. You're basically grabbing it by the steering wheel.
Yeah,
And that's they outright admitted it. Like, is we're talking about Hellstorm Wargaming in the stream. He outright admitted it. I showcased him admitting it in my video. He outright said when he was confronted by his own chat, mind you, his own chat, his own community, asked him, "Wait, we have Sisters of Battle. Why do we need female Space Marines?" And his straight, unhesitant reaction to that comment from his own community was, and I quote, "It's because they're not the poster boys."
Now, can I show you something for Hellstorm there? I've just sent you an old tweet that he did. Now, I can't get what it is he quoted because I believe the account's either gone or it's no longer existing. But if you want to pull that up on stream, man, you can. This was the very first time I actually noticed them, and you can read that out if you like. It's sent to your DMs on Discord.
All right, 1 second. Before I pull it on, 2 people jumped in chat earlier. Antani. I apologize if I mispronunciate your name. Loved your vid on FSM. Really hope Hellstorm was going to come on for a debate. It would have been interesting. Keep up the good work. Thank you. And I also wanted him to come on, and I was going to DM him on Twitter, but he blocked me. And I don't think he seems to be too afraid to go live with his own community at the moment because he's turned his current stream into subscriber only mode.
Yeah, I noticed that. That's showing some cowardice. That is.
That is pure cowardice. He's afraid of his own community.
There is some more to that, but I'll save it until after this that we're talking about in a moment.
Right. And Noble Shield, welcome to stream as well. New sub here. Thank you so much for subscribing. And by the way, if anyone here while watching is a huge fan of Warhammer, you love lore, I make lore videos. If you're a huge fan of like open discussion and conversation with the community, I do these open mics as often as I can. And if you're also a fan of mini painting, I live stream quite regularly. So, yes, subscribe. But let me finish reading the comment. I saw your other vid from Twitter. We're tired of these people trying to corrupt our hobby. Agreed. Thank you, Noble Shield. All right, so now to pull on Lord Metal. Share this with me.
Yep.
All right, let me turn on my... There it is.
So the screen I sent you should give you a fair idea of Hellstorm Mikey and what he's all about, essentially, on online. So this is what we got here. If you can see that.
Hold on. All right, so here it is. Hellstorm Mikey said this in June of 2022, so it's a few years old. But why don't women get into Warhammer? ? And his response was, because it's been male dominated for years. I reject this premise, and I think Lady Runesong, who was on here earlier, would disagree with the idea that because it is male dominated, that is a reason why women wouldn't have interest in something. This is an archaic thought process that women would find something unappealing just because men like it. That implies that women actively hate things that men love. Now, there are differences between the genders, and there are differences in taste between the genders. With that being said, to me, it sounds like when people say this, that it's not because the tastes are different because of who they are as people. It's specifically because the other gender likes it, you can't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what that is the implication of when you say stuff like that. Like, oh, it's been male dominated, therefore women don't have an interest. That's not the case. It's not because it's male dominated. It's because it's male dominated because of the reason, and the same reason that women aren't interested in it. It's the style, it's the aesthetic, it's the themes. That is what women don't find attractive about 40K. It's not because men are the primary audience.
I've just looked at the date there. I believe this was when Only Men Can Be Space Marines dropped in is it the Age of Darkness Codex?
Yeah.
For Horus Heresy, I believe that's what it was, and that's probably when he wrote that tweet. Now you'll also notice in that tweet that he's getting ratioed, right?
Oh yeah.
There's a reason.
Quotes, 133 likes. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's probably a shitload more comments there, and there's probably a lot of accounts that have been deleted since then.
Oh, yeah.
But see if you look in your DMs again, mate. I've sent you another one here. Now this is an interesting one I've sent you. This is actually from a woman who responded to him.
Oh, okay. 1 second.
Right, this was one of the women. And the next one I'll show you after that will be what his response was.
Well, I'll read this one out loud. I hate this so much. This is from Nerd Wonder, and she's a woman. Men always telling me how I feel and what I want. I have no voice. A man has it for me. Why can't I love things? And that's now that sounds like if you just read that and you don't know it's from Hellstorm Wargaming, it does sound like one of the like woke individuals like bitching about someone not agreeing with them. But then you see who she's responding to and what he says and the way he says it. Yeah, I could see where her frustration is coming from.
Yeah, it's basically a woman standing up for herself and saying this is fucking terrible. And you can see the likes on her one there, and
oh yeah,
you see the difference there. Everybody agrees with her and they all side with her. Now, if you look at the next one, you'll see what Hellstorm's response was to this woman speaking up for herself.
To block her. I know that feeling.
Yep. That was his whole response. He blocked her. And he got so much shit for this. He's a coward.
Oh,
he is a coward.
Yeah. Well, we already knew he was a coward. He blocked me and also refused to come on this show, and also is currently live streaming, telling other people and bitching to other people, like as an authority figure in the sphere, about scalping, but he doesn't even have the balls to confront situations where he is being called out and criticized.
Yeah. Exactly. That was one of them, and this was back in 2022 in June. This was just when, I would actually say this is when the tables were starting to turn on Warhammer, because obviously Elon didn't actually have the deal sealed for Twitter yet. It was still unsure whether or not he was going to take it. But a lot of the wokes were quaking in their boots when it came to that, and some of them even just outright fled and went back to Reddit or whatever other platform they were on. And this was when the Only Men Come in Space Marine dropped, and this was all the reaction. This was breaking them. This was them starting to be shown for their things. Now, here's another bit of history from them. I've just tossed you there a link. Can you guess what that's all about?
A couple of
I'm
days
assuming the same drama I covered with Mini Wargaming.
Yes. Now, can you guess what his response was? And I want you to look at the ratio.
Oh, wow. 1K versus 2K, and again, the add-on I have lowballs it.
Yep. He gets ratioed here as well because he basically sided with... He basically full sided with Midwinter when minis. It probably went a bit further than Midwinter, and it just started saying, yeah, oh, right, yeah, they're bad, yeah, Nazis, no, they play Nazis, they play Nazi bad, man, bad, all that fucking jazz, you know what I mean? It's like World War II game. What do you expect, man? I mean, someone's got to play the fucking Nazis, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Who is it? Extra credits? It's extra credits. It's fucking famous
extra credits was the ones who was like, there you are, sitting on your couch, playing a World War II video game, and then you're a Nazi. Because that's how that works.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That is completely their shit. And that's really all I needed to know about Hellstorm Wargaming. And the thing is, though...
By the way,
I listen,
I do want to say this real quick. By the way, for anyone who is new to my account, my sphere here, I was the first person video-wise. Someone tweeted it before I did, but I was the first person on YouTube to cover the Midwinter Minis thing. I was on the ground floor of that one. And that's not just an ego thing or a narcissism thing. I've checked. Like, I was the first person to make a video on Midwinter Mini's terrible take. And the reason I was able to do that is before all that drama, I was a fan of Midwinter Minis. Like, yeah, I will fully admit that I was a fan. And after all that, after I heard some other stuff unrelated to that situation,
all the stuff about his private life started leaking into it all as well. Like what was going on with all that stuff. That was fucking horrid to learn that as well.
Oh yeah, like it was amazing how fast my opinion of someone could shift.
Oh mate, it was like down the toilet in an instant.
Oh yeah, like I went from respecting him as a cool, fun hobbyist that made cool mini painting tutorials and DIY stuff, to suddenly disliking him with a passion. I wouldn't say hatred. Hatred it gives him more energy to it. I was disappointed and very let down, but
There's another one. Noble Shields just mentioned Goobertown Hobbies as well. He's another guy. He puts on this deeply over the top positive sort of attitude, but he underneath it all is another rabid lefty like all these other guys.
Oh, yeah.
He has a few times said some really dumb things, like those PopCap fucking what were they called again? The PopCap fucking statues, whatever the fuck they're called again. But the ones that just have all the different franchises and they've all got the googly eyes and all that damn stupid shit in the bobbleheads.
Oh, the Funko Pops.
Funko Pop, that's it. Why do I call them K-pop? What the fuck am I on? Right, anyway, yeah, the Funko Pops, he ended up making a comment at one fucking point. It was something along the lines of, what did he say? Yeah, fucking Funko Pop has chosen to support fascism or something. And what was he talking about? He was talking about the fucking Warhammer Funko Pops.
Yeah,
he's fucking
yeah. Goobertown is yeah. I think I kind of always knew
he's the one that passed the guy on that got doxxed by.
I covered that situation. Now I covered it poorly back then. I covered it poorly back then because I was sent a bunch of screenshots of like text between him and Norn Queen and stuff, and based on that stuff, it looked like he had conspired with her for like the docs.
Yeah, there wasn't much there to go on.
No, it turns out he was just trying to share information with her in a creepy way. Like, I'm not gonna lie, reading his comments the way you read it, like they read creepy, especially if you're used to how.
They just read really spiteful as well. I found it really funny that in it they're like, oh, we both hate Arch and all that. And all that. It's just like, Jesus Christ, guys, get out of yourselves. There's a guy who's came to you asking for help to get this information out there, and the only thing you can do is bicker. Bitch, it's like, Jesus Christ. And then it's like, then Alexis gets and goes, right, fine, fuck it, I'm going to upload the guy's name with his fucking and it's like,
she was so proud of that too. That's a scary thing. Like, Norn Queen was so proud of doxing someone.
I know, I can't believe how fucking evil that was. That was just,
yeah. And that kind of goes back to like what I was saying earlier with Bartrick. It's not wrong to describe these people as evil. Like, they have no morals or ethics outside of me, I.
Yeah. It's what it is all the fucking time with them. The only other thing I couldn't find with, Hellstorm Gaming was anything to do with Templin Institute, to see if he fucking talked about it then, but it doesn't seem like he's said anything on it. Or at least not what I can see, because he's got me blocked.
Not from what I can see either. Tweet-wise, I don't care, but video-wise, it doesn't seem like he covered it, so it might have been one of the few times he was smart enough to understand to stay out of it.
Yeah. There's another thing I wanted to say as well about Hellstorm. He comes across as a guy who I wouldn't say is very smart. You know what I mean? I wouldn't exactly call him a high class of intelligence. I would say he seems to be more of a guy who believes things he's told more than thinks about the things he's told. And, well, seeing that clip where his wife, it looks like his wife holds the trousers in that fucking conversation anyway.
Oh, absolutely. I thought it was in a stream that I saw part of yesterday, but apparently it's a different one.
Yeah, I don't know what circles he's in. He must be deeply in some sort of circles, but he is just fucking, like, believing everything he's told and just pushing all this. Yeah, there's Nazis in the hobby. Yeah, they're all evil and blah, 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 blah. Shut up, mate. Seriously, shut up. I can tell you right now, probably 99.9% of fucking local game stores that people go to, they've not encountered a single problem, and there probably is most people there of all different kinds who just don't give a fuck.
Absolutely. Like it's just not. It's always interesting, and I actually had a I'll call it a conversation on Twitter. It wasn't recent. It depends on how you define recent. In internet terms, it definitely wasn't recent. It was like, I want to say a month or two ago. I was posting just casually, and I was teasing the lefties as usual on Twitter, and a couple of them were like, and they were refusing to reply to me. One of them kept quote tweeting me, and like with each time I replied to them, they kept quote tweeting me. They wouldn't directly reply to me for some reason. I'm not sure why.
I know why that is. It shows it's basically taking you away from your following, because when it's your OG tweet, it's more likely to appear on the timelines of your followers, right? So when they're quote tweeting, it does the reverse of it, where it's taking them, you to their timeline, so their followers can attack you. You get what I'm saying
Okay.
there?
So it's like a fishing they're fishing the line and trying to drag you in.
Yeah, exactly. He wants you to come to his tweet and argue in his tweet threads for, like, I don't know how many, so all his rabid zealot followers can all just like jump on you and try and reach you.
That's kind of funny, because I quote he kept quote tweeting me and he got like maybe 1 like out of any of them, but then I quote tweeted one of his and my post blew up a little bit. Actually, let me see if I could find it.
It's hilarious when that happens though, because it's usually the thing is, a lot of these guys with big followings, I'm going to say a lot of them are probably fake or inactive, like,
absolutely,
accounts or some shit. Because I mean, some of these guys have got like 10k plus like following, and they can barely get 10 likes on a fucking tweet. Whereas some guy can come along with like 50 followers and he could get like 10,000 fucking likes somehow.
I did find it, but it looks like the person deleted their account.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that.
Wow.
But it's funny
I
when
completely
you
ratioed them. I got 125 likes. They barely got 1.
I want you to do one thing here just for the stream as well. Obviously, you covered that article the other day. I've just sent you the link there to the article in your Discord. If you want to click that, have a look at the ratio, and just show everyone in the chat what it's at right now.
All right, 1 second. I almost went to the Star Wars theme. Okay. All right. I pulled it up. It has 202 likes, 190 reposts, which includes quote tweets, and 619 replies.
A quick scroll through all those fucking ratios. You can even look up your one if you want.
Yeah. I don't know how many.
This man has been destroyed by the Warhammer community. They came, they saw, and they fucking conquered his ass, man.
Oh, absolutely. On that, man. Absolutely. It's actually been beautiful to watch Twitter get, like, start to turn, like, more in our favor. Like, they still reply like absolute zealots to anybody and try to harass them like they did with me, and then, like, attack physical appearance and all the things they claimed not to judge people on, ironically.
Yeah, when they're attacking you for your appearance, man, that means they've ran out of ammunition and they're just trying to hurt you.
And when it's their initial reply to my post, it means they not only ran out of ammunition, it means they never had any.
Yeah. There's some beautiful ratios in there. I think yours went up to like over 1K of likes. I know that much.
Yeah, mine did. I'm pretty sure. Mine is at 1.1K, which is way more than they got.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I got 202. So yeah, I ratioed them by almost over 1,000.
Yeah, that's another thing Nova Shields just mentioned in your chat there, man. The racism of them has came out proper fucking bad. As soon as a minority disagrees with them, or a woman disagrees with them, or anyone of colour turns and says things, it's like a racial purity test with them, and the first thing they call you is an Uncle Tom or a fucking pick me or anything if you're of a racial minority and you're watching this. That's essentially what they'll do to you if you turn around and say, no, that's not right. That's not how it is. They don't care. They don't care. It's get in line or, be destroyed. That's essentially their idea.
Indeed.
And I think the last thing to talk about is... Okay, right, so we just mentioned there why Hellstorm Gaming has went sub-mode only. Now, we already know that his chat yesterday was getting asked the wrong questions, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
The chat, why aren't you agreeing with me? Why are you asking me these difficult questions sort of thing?
It was actually kind of funny to watch his own community, which do like him for some reason, don't ask me why, were asking him the questions that we ask. Like, okay, why is it what about Sisters of Battle? Like, why can't you just play them? And he didn't even try and use the standard defenses or lines that they normally do. They normally say it's like, oh, well, they don't really count because this. And he did actually eventually shift to that. He started trying to say, Well, you can make an entire Sisters of Battle Sisters of Battle army with just men, which is horseshit, by the way. Like, I'm not gonna say there are male units, but I looked into it. There aren't really proper male infantry, so no, you can't. By the actual rules of 40k, and he would know this if he played 40k. So to me, this is proof that he doesn't play 40k at all. Because when you build an army for a tournament, like Incursion or Strike Force or Onslaught, you have like requirements in your army structure. And amongst them is you have to have a certain number of troop choices. There are not proper sister male troop choices. There aren't any. So he's out and right lying in his stream, saying you can make a whole 2,000 point Sisters army with male troops solely. That's a lie.
Yeah,
you cannot. Do
someone gave a tweet recently. I can't remember where it is, but essentially someone did here's a Custodes army with females only, and it was all Sisters of Silence and stuff like that in it.
As much as awesome as that is, that wouldn't do very well. But yes, you can do Custodes army with just Sisters of Silence. I still think Sisters should be their own army that you can combo with Custodes, like a traditional Custodes army. But I do think they should have their range and lore enhanced, as well as the Sisters of Battle. But more so, like, I feel the Sisters of Silence need more TLC.
Oh, they definitely do. I'd say like anything. Anybody says, I'd like such and such faction to get such and such love, and I'd be like, yes, instantly. You know what I mean? But it's just, unfortunately, I think it's just the logistics of GW and how stupid they're being with certain things and how fucking
they only beat on.
It could also just be limitations with things. But I mean, GW just allowed the last book of the Horus Heresy right now to get mega scalped, you know what I mean? So
oh yeah,
they're not a perfect company, if you get what I'm saying. But I've sent you one more thing. This is just a wee bit more that I've been sent, some more context. Now, I won't say I'm an authority on this, but this is what I got sent. Essentially, there seems to be some sort of a drama going on in Hellstorm's Discord with someone that he's banned. And there's a lot of trolls showing up there, and he's claiming it's all to do with Twitter overspill and all that crap. I don't know what's going on in here, but apparently it's chaos on his server. It's been for a bit in his Discord. That's another reason why it might be sub-only mode. And this is from someone who is subbed in part of his membership.
Okay, so we have some Discord leaks. Would you like to ban someone? It almost looks like Archimus or Archimedes. Don't delete any. Okay, little bro, stay mad. Cedric says, mod abuse, Georgie, go discipline Mike. And Hellstorm Mikey says, it's Twitter spillover. Decknell28, I'm glad we haven't had any trolls coming in here. They will try as above, see you in members area. So yeah, he's witch hunting his Discord.
Yeah, there seems to be some sort of a purge going on in his Discord. I don't know what it is. I couldn't even begin to claim what it is. But there's some sort of drama going on there, so that's possibly another reason why he's going on sub-only mode.
I mean, this doesn't surprise me. He's already cowardly hiding in a members-only stream, or it's a subscriber-only stream. And even then, like, I saw a subscriber-only stream, and some people were still, like, subscribing just to, like, leave mean comments. So he might turn it to a members-only. But this doesn't surprise me. I mean, the guy's a coward. Like, we've established that pretty thoroughly.
Yeah, man. But, that's pretty much everything I got on Hellstorm Gaming at the moment. And any further comments he's got to make on things, I mean, I just wouldn't listen, to be honest to him, other than to laugh at him. That's the only thing I see him as now. He's just a lol cow.
Oh, absolutely. He's a full lol cow.
Yeah, and I think, in all honesty, I'm so glad to see, like, say, that article that came out and it just got bashed by the Warhammer community. I am actually glad to see the Warhammer community, the silent majority, starting to step up and actually have some fight in them.
Oh, it's amazing to see. It's amazing to see people finally say, fuck this, fuck off. Either enjoy the hobby for what it is, or fuck off. Like, it is beautiful to see that.
It's one more thing that I've got to say on it as well that kind of like adds to it as well. I remember you obviously know Cerberus, don't you?
Yeah.
Right. Now
Unfortunately.
I got some screens the other day of when he attempted to go to Facebook, and my God, when he went into the Facebook groups and showed the
Oh, he got
pictures of-
shredded.
oh, he got destroyed, man.
Yeah,
Utterly
that's the thing. They're so used to their echo chamber on Twitter and Reddit that they genuinely believe, and again, I said this earlier with like how Radholm said it in his coverage, or his debate with Arch, they are that like tight-knit echo chamber groups with their fellow psychos that they genuinely believe that they're the majority, when in reality, they're the minority by a substantial margin. They are the minority of the community, and they don't get to experience that because they so rarely leave Twitter. And it was so beautiful to see Cerberus, who is a hardcore woke lefty pro FSM nutjob on Twitter, leave Twitter. Like, I don't know what possessed him to do that, and to me that's proof that they genuinely don't know. Like if they only stayed on Twitter ever and they never deviated off of it, like, and then if you ask them to, they always made excuses, then I would see that as proof that they actually do know that they're a minority. They just use it as a line. But the fact that he did, it, to me, is proof that they believe that. And when he went to Facebook and realized, no, they're the minority in the older crowd on Facebook, which would be the majority of the people on Facebook are older fans of 40K, beat his ass down.
Yeah, and just to add further thing to I think it was 2022 or something. I can't remember if it was 2022 or 2023. But I got sent screens of when Bitshammer and his crowd tried to go to Facebook. Now, all they did was look for any groups that don't agree with their line of thinking and started doing mass reports on them on Facebook. They would just sit there and they would just start reporting every single post they saw. And it was utterly pathetic, man. They were literally posting about, ha ha ha.
They were channeling the Hitler Youth. They were channeling
Yeah, it
the
was
Hitler
like,
Youth.
ha ha ha, I've reported 50 accounts and shit. You're just like, oh, shut up, man.
Yeah, like, as much as I say it as a joke, but that is very, like, ironically, very fascistic behavior.
Yeah.
Like you are sitting there proudly policing people's opinions.
It's not even that. They don't even give them a response or a reply. What they do is they just try and use the system against people.
Right, that's policing. Like you are using the law.
Abuse to the
quote,
report
unquote.
system.
Yeah, you're abusing the law of the platform, the report system, to oppress speech that you don't agree with. Not to oppress speech that is harmful, which, in my opinion, no speech is harmful. Offense is taken, it's not given. So speech is not. Like, there's obvious exceptions, like yelling fire in a crowded theater. Obviously, like, there are certain things that society has agreed upon that you can't say because it's dangerous. But there's a massive difference between that and someone just voicing an opinion. And the fact that they would proudly police that's fascistic. Like, they are fascists.
Well, they literally put up what's that stupid thing? They've put up some stupid like Antifa type logo a few times. Was it Love Miniatures Hate Fascism or some shit?
Every time I see the Antifa flag, I think of the swastika.
Yeah,
I think of it every time. It's got the same colors.
yeah, exactly. And even ones like Demon Face they're getting now fucking utterly trolled on now by all sorts of people now, because they've ended up making it to some of the big accounts on Twitter that just mock these idiots, and it's getting worse and worse for them, and they are getting more seen in the mainstream, and they are just getting seen for the idiots that they are. And I just love seeing that the fact now that the people who have sat around, bullied and harassed people for so long now are actually starting to get pushback.
Yeah.
It's glorious to see, man. And yeah, man, I think I've probably taken up a hell of a long time now, and some of your guys in the call are probably waiting to get in. So I'm ready to head off, mate, unless there's anything else you want to say, man.
I just want to thank you for coming on, man, and you brought up some really good things. You brought up some really good points, and thank you for the information as well to share with my audience. It was very valuable.
Yeah, it's no problem, man. It's stuff I get in backlog, and obviously I get fed things through Twitter from time to time. And yeah, guys, if any of you are on Twitter and you want to find me, I'm at Lord Metalman 88 is my name, or just search Lord Metalman. You'll probably find us if you're a Warhammer hobbyist. Come along and have a laugh with us. I'll post all sorts of funny stuff as soon as I can.
Yep.
And just bash on these wokes when they fucking start shit.
Yeah, Lord Metal is the head of the true Warhammer 40k fan community on Twitter. So if you are on that platform, for better or for worse, you will certainly find some actual genuine fandom and camaraderie if you check out the Legion of Unpopular Opinions.
Thank you very much, man. Thanks for having us, guys. And I'll get out of here and let you have a very Austrian man.
Thank you. Have a good
Right.
one.
See you guys.
Excuse me. All right, so that was Lord Metalman. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to skim the chat real quick, and then we're going to pull on Canthus. If I said that correctly. Okay. Too bad companies look at Twitter as real life. I think that's starting to become less common. I won't say it's not common anymore yet. It's still going to take a while longer before companies truly... Because companies, as homogenous masses, they take so... Especially since the head of them are really naive, by the sounds of it, socially speaking. Business-wise, they might be smart, but socially, they're very dumb. Companies are slowly realizing that the voices, the loud ones on Twitter, are not reflective of their wider audiences. It's taken a lot of major companies making major blunders to realize it, and I don't think they've fully realized it yet. It might be a year or more of a few more horrible major blunders by big companies before they fully get it. But as of right now, it seems like companies are starting to pull back on the value they and stock they put into the voices and quote tweets and shit on Twitter. So hopefully that fully sinks in sooner rather than later, but it hasn't yet, I wouldn't say. Osvaldo, welcome to the stream. This stuff always goes to shit, man. Conflict is inevitable and is going to get nastier in the future. I agree, unfortunately. The thing to keep in mind, though, is, again, we're dealing with the minority of the community, as me and Lord Metalman just kind of espoused. Like, these people are active on two places. Reddit, Twitter. And they will go to other platforms to try and strike it out and act like they're the big dogs on campus. But the moment they leave their echo chambers is the moment that I wouldn't say they realize it. They're so echo chamber brained that even when they are surrounded by people who don't agree with them, they're convinced that they're surrounded by the minority. Somehow the minority have successfully surrounded the majority. That doesn't work ergonomically, but try and explain that to someone who's indoctrinated. It is indoctrination. They're a cult. So, yeah, but in the end, no matter how... It is going to get more hostile, but you always got to keep in mind when you interact with these people, you're talking to a bunch of keyboard warriors that have never seen the light of day, really. Like, they're the... Very few of them, if any, are in LGSs. Very few of them, if any, go to tournaments and play games and actually enjoy the hobby. So, you got to keep that in mind. Chudhammer unite, yes! For the Chudpetter! Not gonna lie, I still like a dip to Chud Stodies. I don't prefer that, I prefer Custodies, but I do think it's funny. And aside of Disney, who are infested and panicking over shareholder and legal issues? Yeah, that is something they're kind of panicking. Hopefully Sony picks up on that too. They haven't for some reason. Chudcron's wake. We're gonna put Chud in front of everything. Alright, I'm gonna pull on Canthus, or Canthus. I almost wanted to say Kael'thas. Welcome.
Ahoy.
Ahoy, ahoy. So, how you doing?
Yeah, recovering from like stomach disease, you know.
I'm recovering from apparently COVID. So,
Yeah.
my second. This will be my second bout with it. Wasn't anywhere near as my first bout. Bad as my first bout. But anyway, so my good man, what are your thoughts on, and you could approach it from either the smaller, more specific thing with Hellstorm Wargaming, or the greater, fresh bout of health about female Space Marines. So, what are your
The
thoughts?
thing is, I mean, I talked about this with my girlfriend because before she went to bed, and we were talking a little bit about that stuff, and she mentioned some stuff. Lore matters about the female Space Marine stuff. And when people who are fans of a hobby become or stop being vigilant about their hobby, it ends like Star Wars, Halo, Star Trek, Doctor Who, Wizard of the Coast in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the thing. When you're not vigilant, Warhammer will be like that. And the female Space Marine thing is just a power grab. It's just like, oh, that's the poster boy. We need to take it and make it ours and turn it around and destroy fun for everyone. And you know what's the funniest part about this gameplay move is? The moment this happens, those people who destroyed their hobby leave it with the sentence, "It's not how it used to be."
Yeah, that would happen. Some of them would just leave silently though and move on to the next thing to conquer. Like that's kind of what's eerie about the Wokehammer crowd. And we call them Wokehammer like they're secluded to our hobby space, but a lot of these same exact accounts and people, you could find them on subreddits and Twitter pages related to Star Wars, related to Star Trek, related to all manners of fandom and escapist material. Like, these same people are everywhere.
There was like a comic some time ago where someone was playing a pen and paper, so like Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder. It was a comic, and someone was like, "Hey, I want to play with you," and then the person was like, "The rules are a bit complicated. Can we change them?" And then like everyone else said, "No, we played like this for like ages, and you're excluding me." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
So, like all that stuff. And my girlfriend also said something about like this kind of people who are like that. She said it like this: we say we are always nice and kind people. Please don't label us. Please don't body shame us. We are positive and we are nice and and these are the people who run around like, you cis het white male, something label here, label there, doxing, attacking, canceling, and then body shaming. So it's a I don't know. Do you know that there's like a quote from a infamous person that was, if you want to silence your enemies, accuse them of that what you are what you are going to do.
Yeah, projection.
Yeah, and you know who said that?
I believe that was Marx.
In a different way, but like this quote was from the propaganda minister of the Nazi party.
Even more
like,
fitting.
The thing is, I know what we are doing, but I want to accuse others of doing it, and at the same time, no, we are the innocent people. It's the others, yeah. And it's just like the typical like modus operandi of like the wokies and the activists, like, oh, they are doing this while they themselves do that all the time.
Yeah, it's their primary tactic is the projection. And what's ironic about it is oftentimes they also use the very tactics that they so abhor, or they claim to abhor. Like we mentioned it earlier, like they will attack, like they cry bully about fat shaming and going after someone's physical appearance and using slurs to demean people. But the moment you disagree, all the hats are off, and they use those same exact tactics. Like, in me simply saying that it's not, like, GW has not been silent on the issue of female Space Marines. They have reiterated in fresh print since this debate has been going on in the Age of Darkness booklet and in the Space Marines Codex. They have reiterated that the Space Marines are all male. Like, this is something they have not been silent about. Just because they didn't make a tweet out and right saying, fuck off, this is the lore, accept it or don't.
I mean, you forgot one in between, because there was like the first founding chapter between the Heresy 2.0 rulebook and the new Space Marine Codex, and in between you had like this lore book. Bless you. The lore book, the first founding, where they were talking like the loyalist legions and chapters, and like they were like the Thunder Warriors were only male, the Custodians were only male, the Space Marines are only male, and it's like in every chapter from every legion they're recruiting boys, they're recruiting young men, they become strong male initiates until they become Space Marines and neophytes. So it's like the entire book is like male. So it's like And I posted it on Twitter, and some people were like and blocked me like, oh god, I don't know, looked like I invoked the devil, you know.
Yeah, you held up a cross to a vampire.
I mean, and about all that Hellstorm debacle, I never said anything to that guy, and he blocked me. And I mean,
did Hellstorm block you?
Yes.
Ah, okay, doesn't surprise me.
After I seen your stream, I checked his Twitter account and I was already blocked.
That was fast.
I mean, block bot, no.
He might have, like, I don't know. This might be again in narcissist thing. He might have checked my follower list. I don't know if he could do that anymore.
And the thing is, I mean, the funniest thing about the entire stream was when like his feminist soy wife came in and hijacked the stream, and you literally could see how his spirit left his body.
She wears the pants. She's got his balls on a leash.
Yeah, it was just hilarious, and my girlfriend wanted me to give you a quote, okay? She said it like this, but in German. She said like, I want my Sisters of Battle, how they used to be, and how they are. I can play an entire army of Sisters of Battle without a male model. I can have a preacher or a priest with a bodyguard of crusaders, but I don't need them. And I don't want female Space Marines, because I don't want to see monstrosities that are deviant art, freak fetish waifus with giant bodies, giant boobs, and little.
See you later, Lady
anime
Runesong. Thank you for watching and stopping by and giving your opinion. Sorry, she had said shit.
Yeah, it's okay.
Go ahead.
No, my girlfriend was like, she doesn't want like monstrosity, Space Marine, female, fetish, deviant art, freak waifus with tiny anime heads and giant boobs and bodies. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she also said it like this: if you want to have a giant muscle woman to date, go to the gym. And if they, and she also said, but be prepared. They won't look like Guts from Berserk with the head of Sailor Moon.
No, they will not.
She was actually triggered by that bullshit, because she's like, can they just leave my Sisters of Battle alone? And I'm like, yeah, but I said, yeah, but they are talking about female Space Marines. And she's like, we already have female Space Marines, and they are even better than Space Marines because they are Sisters of Battle.
Exactly. Like that is an opinion I hold as well. Like, and that's the thing. Real women fans and hobbyists, it's fascinating to see. Like Lady Runesong was in earlier. Real women voice that no, they don't need quote unquote representation. And I already went over with her, and I won't make you go through it again, but I already went over with her that you don't become a fan of something because it's a mirror of you. Like you are often fans of something that has nothing to do with you because it's an exploration of the unknown and something fresh. That's why you like something, is it's a creative, interesting idea that you want to explore. If it's a reflection of you, then you understand it. You know what it is. It's just you. Like, there's nothing engaging about it. There's nothing that draws you in. It's nothing that invigorates your mind and gets you excited, because it's just you. What could be less interesting to you than yourself?
The stuff that draws you in is the stuff where you think, I really like it. Best example is my oldest daughter. She plays what was it? The Inari, the Elder faction. And you know why she started the Inari? To quote her, Ivrain's hair are pretty, I like it. And then she started tabling me with bright lances and plasma cannons and elder bullshittery.
That's amazing.
I mean, and that's and you know the real dangerous part in the community are actually the woke freaks. Because I told you that encounter once before, but we had like a guy who was in one of our local stores, and who tried to talk to my daughter and was like, "Hey, I can show you my miniatures," and I go away, or you know, or I will do stuff. And the guy was like a grown-up man, and later the shopkeeper, she told me, he's the typical activist type. And I said, what do you mean? She's like, oh, he has a girlfriend who is in transition and has a necklace with the trans pride flag, and of course both of them have their pronouns as a badge on their jacket and all that stuff.
That's cringe as all hell.
And I was like, yeah, of course those guys are going for children. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just like that. It's just always the same guys. It's people without backbones, like the Hellstorm rocket guy. He has no backbone. Don't get me wrong. There's no spine inside of.
Wait,
this
did you call him
body.
Hellstorm Rocket?
Yeah, because he's a rocket guy, like straight through the sky.
Okay.
I mean, just watch the stream and watch it in slow motion. You can see when his wife took over the stream how he's like mental health, and his like the rest of his male pride went like a rocket out of his head.
Oh yeah.
So that's why I have the Hellstorm rocket.
Yeah, some men are so desperate for like love and affection they'll take it from a gross, disgusting goblin or troll, and it seems like that's what his wife is.
Hag.
Definitely hag vibes. Like she took over his stream without hesitation. That shows who wears the pants. She had no hesitation taking over that stream, taking up the mic,
respect in that,
and acting like it was her fucking show, and he didn't stop her.
There was no respect in that move.
No. Like that shows blatant disrespect. Like the fact that you would. Like, this is your husband's show. This is his hobby. This is his little side thing. And without hesitation, you grab the mic and you start ranting. Like, that shows disrespect. Like, that shows that you do not respect this as his thing, as his channel, his control. And it's one thing if he gives the mic to you and then lets you go off. But she took hold the mic, she used it and she went off. That man is whipped, very, very whipped. Now, that being said, I can understand why a man would acquiesce to their wife or girlfriend more often than not. My dad does it to my mom all the time, and but my mom respects my dad. She respects him more than anyone else. She will go to him with any issues. She will talk to him about any issue. But my mom's also a very strong-willed person. Scottish and Irish mom. She takes no shit from anybody.
Yeah, so I tried something while we were talking, and I searched for female Space Marine on Google, and one of the first pictures was this one. And it's yeah, they won't look like this. I sent it to you.
Yeah, they won't. And this is a good opportunity.
And you know what the second picture was when I googled female Space Marines?
What?
It was a genuine sister of battle.
Good. Means Google hasn't been.
So there you go.
fucked.
It's a power grab for the poster boy. And it's from the people who are constantly say, "Don't label me, don't body shame me," while I do it to everyone else. And use literally fascistic Nazi tactics, And the thing is, like this, I don't know, that really mustache guy, the weird one, the clown from the circus, the one that talked with Arch, the rom-com guy or whatever his name was called.
Radhom.
Yeah, that one. It's they are so they swim in a bubble of milk. That's like wrapped with this popping foil that you use for packaging, the plastic stuff where you have the little air bubbles in it, so stuff don't break. So you have a glass bowl filled with milk. The guy is inside, and he's wrapped with all that plastic shit inside of a box, and that's the echo chamber they are in. And when some of these people, for example, go into Real Games Workshop, like it happened in my town. And they started shit like that in the store. They met with stone cold resistance, and the store clerks, the chief of distribution was there, and he also was like, "Please leave the store." because the Warhammer people who play the hobby, read the books, play the games, enjoy the stuff, they don't like that shit at all.
No, they don't. And I want to say this about like this image you shared. You're right. Female Space Marines would not look like this at all. This is what a sister of and this is a part of like the like when you talk to these psychos about like Sisters of Battle and how they try and demean them and belittle them, and they try and like play down their significance, which is ironic because a fan would never do that. Like if you're a fan of 40k, you love the sisters, or at least you highly likely love the sisters. That being said,
something.
I'll check it in a second. But with this like artwork, one thing I always bring up to this to these psychos when they say stuff like, oh, they're underdeveloped or they don't have enough stuff, like blah blah blah, like whatever excuse they use to play down the Sisters of Battle, I say, okay, well, there's a solution to what you're asking for, and it's not female Space Marines. It's flesh the sisters out more. It's like, oh, the sisters only have one flavor, Space Nuns. It's like, okay, why not have new orders added? Give them as many as like there are chapters of Space Marines. Have a Valkyrie based one, and this is what this artwork kind of makes me think of. Have a Valkyrie Sisters of Battle chapter, if you will, or order, if you want to use a different term than chapter. Like, look at this image and look at it through that lens of, okay, why don't we get like different flavors of sisters, like we have different flavors of like obviously they'd all have one thing in common: they serve the ecclesiarchy as a military force, but they don't all have to be the religious space nuns like the Our Martyred Lady Order or some of the other similar ones that are played right off of them. They can look and have different flavors that are as vast as the Space Marines. And as long as they all have the two things in common that identify sisters: one, they're all female, and two, they serve the ecclesiarchy and are fueled by the faith and religious fervor of the emperor. And with that, just those 2 points, you can still have a vast variety of sisters, like we have a vast variety of Space Marines. Like we could have a Valkyrie one that's based on Fenris that might serve like alongside the Space Wolves in some capacity.
I mean, there was in one of the law books a Sisters of Battle like diocese area. They were like, Sanguinius is the best one, and they're like the Sisters of the Chalice, and they're like pseudo praying to the Emperor and Sanguinius.
Yeah, again, varieties like that would be so welcome. Like, I don't think a single member of the 40k community would object to this addition. And again, this is something that if the pro FSM crowd shifted to, they would have nothing but support. The community would back them up vastly, because like there are two things that they could do. Like they could do that, and they could also push for sisters to become the poster girls. Guess what? Nobody, I don't think, would object to that either. There would be a few, but I wouldn't. Like, how many editions have the Space Marines been the poster faction? Pretty much all of them since Rogue Trader. Why can't we have 11th edition, 12th edition, 13th edition, etc.? Jesus Christ, if we even get there. But like, why can't we have those start varying? Like, have one that's, instead of have it what it's been the last few years or the last few editions, where it's been the Space Marines and random pick of a Xenos or Chaos faction. How about just have it be the poster boys are, okay, it's the Guard for 12th edition, or it's the Sisters for 11th edition. Why not do that?
I mean, to think about it, most of the people in the community I know, the thing that they hate is when people try to change their hobby. And the second thing that they hate is when GW does nothing, like anything good. For example, how many like Xeno races do you have in the Tau thingy-mabob? Yeah, like you have the weird, the wasps, you have the Groot, you have the Tau. You have like a shitload of other alien species that nobody ever sees. They are only mentioned. And for example, why can't you make that they have literally a psychic race in their Tau Empire? You never see any, so you could give Taus psychic powers. Why? Because they have some alien race in their fucking army that is capable of doing psychic shit. It's the issue. For example, friends of mine, he's a Vostroyan Firstborn player. Guess when he had the last time the chance to buy miniatures for his army?
When?
2014 in my country.
That's a decade ago.
Yes, I know. And the thing is,
Okay.
he needs to buy Cadians, he needs to buy green stuff, and he buys from like third-party bits producer. They make like alternative heads and stuff, and then he has to kit bash this stuff.
Hmm.
And once every like 10 years, Games Workshop is like, made to order, was trying first one, $500, get 100 miniatures.
I wouldn't
That's
want to
the
live there.
stuff that the community actually annoys the fuck. And
And
especially when you have like, hey, we have the old world back. Okay, we have like 200 people in my near vicinity who want to play the old world. And because Games Workshop handling of the online store and the online store itself is so bad, the 200 people were able to get 2 rule books. So 200 people who want to play the old world have to share 2 rule books now.
I mean, the community is very gentlemanly, but it's very, very hard to share 2 rulebooks amongst that many people.
I know, but that's like the thing. And for example, in my country, even the by the digital thing stuff didn't work most of the times because it was like the site crashed, something went wrong, blah.
Bad servers. Yeah.
And the homepage is super bad. I don't know if you checked the new homepage from Games Workshop.
I have. It's
But it gives me autism, really.
it's unnecessary the way they redesigned it. I have
Yeah,
no idea why they designed it that way.
And all that stuff around, you know, the community itself has enough issues with all the bullshit that Games Workshop pulls like constantly. And then you have like these weirdos coming from outside after they destroyed Doctor Who, Star Wars, Halo, Star Trek, after they destroyed like 90% of everything that Wizard of the Coast have, beside the stuff that Hasbro made, like selling soccer balls. Because at this point, they didn't destroy soccer playing with woke agenda stuff, from what I know.
Mm.
So you can buy a basketball or a soccer ball or a football. That's not something that's ruined at this point. Don't jinx it.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We have enough issues. The world is at a shit point right now. I want to come home, paint my miniatures, and want my head just to go away and just enjoy myself with something I like.
That's how I feel, man. Like every day.
And
coming home
then-
from work.
And then is someone like, oh, we need female spaceman. Why? Because it's the poster boy and we make a power grab.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, and
frustrating
then
as
you
all hell.
have like let's say in air quotations, content creators who have no backbone in their entire body floating around somewhere, who let themselves get cucked live by their girlfriend or whatever it is, and can't
I think it's
stand
his
up
wife.
for the.
I think it's his wife. I think he's married to
We
that, so.
We presume. No, the thing is, and then they don't stand up for the community. It's like, oh yeah, I'm totally on board with everything you say, as long as I get some clicks.
Yep.
And most of these guys aren't like so morally good that they have the high ground to behave like that. I mean, that Hellstorm guy had some, shit on the stick. And what is this? The guy who the one who is like, everything is fine until someone has to play the Nazi guys. What's his name?
That was Guy from Midwinter Minis.
Yeah, and that guy also has some shit on his stick. So they are not like,
They're
who
not
he's
moral paragons, and
Yeah,
I'll say
who-
this as a content creator on YouTube, and I say this potentially at my own detriment. Don't ever look at a content creator, whether they claim to be or not, doesn't matter. Don't ever look at a content creator as above you. Like, some people don't think of it in those exact terms, but some people would say, oh, I look up to this content creator. I look up to this content creator. I'm not saying don't appreciate the advice or appreciate the content that they provided and entertainment they provided to you. Like, if you appreciate it, go on appreciating it. But keep in mind that they are human. And humanity has quite the range of people. And also think about the type of person that enjoys making content that often
Yeah.
and that regimentedly and that highly edited and has to put a camera in their face for that long. There's two types of personalities that do it. You have mine, which is, I'm autistic. I'm very excitable. I have high energy. I talk to myself a little bit, so I might be mentally deranged. Prior warning. But you know, you have people like me who it's not really about the narcissism. It's just it's a way of connecting and with people and entertaining people, and you get like an enjoyment out of that. And for me, like, I don't care about views. I don't care about subscribers, because if I did, I would do a lot of the shit that these guys pull to do it. But like the other personality is kind of the opposite, and that's narcissists. Like, you're someone who has to have such a high opinion of yourself that you think putting a camera in your face for hours on end and people will flock to you and the content you make and are entertained by you, and all of it is a vanity thing. Those are usually the two types of personalities you get out of content creators.
I mean, what I like always find so funny when it's like that the people who are virtue signaling and behave like the moral paragon is most of the times the people who are like, he who is without fault throw the first rock.
Yeah, it's a lot of posturing oneself. Like, some of them even talk like they are paragons within the community, which is kind of disgusting to me. Listen, I'll tell you all this right now, from my perspective. I'm an asshole. I don't pretend otherwise. I'm a dick. I am not someone you should look to and be like, I want to be that guy. Don't think that about me. Be you. Be the best of you, and the best. Look to you. Like, if you want to look at someone else and say, I want to be that person, don't let it be me. Don't let it be any other content creator. Do not look up to us as we're a bunch of, again, best case scenario is a bunch of introverted nerds that, you know, this is just a fun pastime to dick around and have a good community and have fun. Or we're a bunch of narcissistic sociopaths that only care about ourselves. That's the two types of people who make YouTube channels. Keep that in mind. We're not people to look up to in that regard. If you want people to look up to, look to real paragons within your communities. And if not in current history, look at history. Like, look at people who have done great things, tangibly good, great things. Point to them and say, I want to be that. That's what you should look up to. Not YouTubers, not Instagrammers, not any of that shit. Anyway, go ahead.
My grandfather always said, you know, if you aspire someone, try to be more like Jesus.
Yeah.
like when someone when someone tried to be a moral paragon, it's like one of the easiest examples.
Yeah.
Or like to lift the example. But yeah, before I go off, just check the picture I sent you. Then that's the perfect display, like how a female spaceman would look like in the end.
Yeah. The I'll put it up on screen. Oh, I zoom in on it. Yeah, that. It's pretty much identical.
Yeah, there's a bit more body fat in some parts, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing is, and that's like I learned something in study class. The one who plays the paragon and tries to be the moral paragon and is super try hard while doing it is most of the times the person you should never fall as a moral paragon.
Right. Like, it's kind of like looking at Hollywood actors and as paragons. Again, it's just
perfect example. I had one female student in study class, and she was like, communism only failed because it wasn't led by a woman like me. Yes. I cringed really hard. And my first answer was like, someone who says like, I would be the perfect communistic leader should never be the leader.
No. Good God, no. Oh God. Well, I want to thank you for coming on, man. We've got some other guests who've been waiting a while, but I appreciate you coming on and giving your thoughts. Thank you.
Yeah, see ya, bye.
Bye-bye. All right, that was our friend. I think in the chat that was... Oh crap, has he not chatted for a while? Or wasn't chatted for a while? That was done as Afio, but he goes by Canthus. Canthus is how I've been reading it, but I could be totally wrong. But yeah, cool guy, great guy, and loved his takes. Great girlfriend, by the way. Jonathan Eccles, welcome to stream. I think the other half of the people who want FSM are just coomers who look at Rule 363 art and say, oh, I must have material in my war game. I mean, I guess that element of it can't be disregarded in any case. That's probably I already know that some of the Wokehammer crowd, like Cerberus we mentioned earlier, that guy literally posted, he's like all the anti-FSM crowd, or which real fans crowd is what he means to say. They're all missing out on the muscle mommies. It's like, you do realize said muscle mommy would look exactly like a dude. Like, no difference. Maybe slightly longer hair. That's it. They would look no different. Like, becoming a Space Marine mutates your body to the point you look masculine no matter what, so... no. They wouldn't look like muscle mummies, you dipshit. But yeah, that shows that they're not fans. They don't even understand, like, the process in which... like, some of them claim, like, the Primaris stuff would opened up the door to female Space Marines. No, it didn't. How did making the Space Marine process more complicated open the door to female Space Marines when females couldn't survive base Space Marine transformations, you dumbasses? So yeah, they were not people to listen to about that. They didn't even realize that Primaris made it a more complicated process. Transhumanism, they cease being humans. Correct. By the way, Tiamat, D-Lord, welcome to the stream. I forgot to welcome you earlier. And someone else jumped in earlier, but I guess they left. That would be John White. John White jumped in the stream earlier. Welcome to you if you're still here. If you're not, well, hope you enjoyed while you were here, my man. And yeah, he talked about he's like an old graybeard that's just, you know, he kind of laid down the law about stuff we've been talking about the whole time, and I'm glad he agrees with us. Okay, you're still here, man. Cheers, dude. I am around. Awesome. Yeah. I couldn't respond to it at the time because I had a guest in the call, and I had to I gotta focus on the callers when they're hopping in. So, but I read everything you said, and I'm glad we agree, Mr. Old Whitebeard or Graybeard, I guess is what you said. So it's always good to have the Graybeards on our side. All right. So I'm gonna pull in our next caller. That'd be Kaboose. Hello, Kaboose.
Hello. Waiting 10,000 years will give you such a creak in the neck to talk to somebody. Oi, gavay.
Sorry, I probably should have been cutting them off at a few times, but
It's a conversation.
Yeah, the conversation's been amazing. Like, we've had some solid conversations with the callers today. So I'm sure you're gonna add to that. So, what are your thoughts on this stuff?
We're going to get it ad nauseum. It's never going to go away. They're going to, oh, we want females Marines. I'm like, just play the Sisters of Battle. Oh, no, they're too sexualized. And you are the people saying that you want female Space Marines not to be sexualized. Right. I've seen some of that artwork that you've done.
Muscle mommies, to borrow a term from a pro FSM person.
Hey, don't knock muscle mommies. Dabby mommy.
Yeah, but if you want that, like, hit on a female Ogryn.
That's hot.
No shame.
No, it's...
Imagine being a commissar in charge of a Ogryn squad, but it's all females. That should be an anime right there.
And all the Ogryns, all the female Ogryns fall in love with him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that should be an anime. Like that should be like a what are they called? Harem anime?
I was reincarnated as a commissar in charge of a female Ogryn squad.
Oh god, I want that so badly. So, like, someone hire a Japanese studio immediately. Fuck, it'd be funny.
We're never going to get rid of the female Space Marine things. I think if they killed it and made the sisters the poster child, it would kill it. It would.
So if we kill it by putting them the sisters as posters.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if we made the Sisters of Battle the poster child, the female Space Marine crowd would die.
Oh, they would die, absolutely.
Yeah, they would die because now the females are the poster child.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure what. For a second there, I thought you were saying, like, if we made sisters the poster children that would kill 40K. I didn't agree with that, but I understand.
No. What I was trying to say is I think that I do agree with Hoach. They'll still whinge, but it's like, hey, you wanted females as a poster child? Here you go.
Yeah, they'd still whinge, but they'd completely lose what little ground they have with some morons about the representation point.
This is the same crowd that also cried and went, and the sisters were getting plastic models because they're too hot. Have you seen the S&M that used to be the Sisters of Battle? I'm like,
I mean, there was the artwork. Oh crap! I always forget the artist's name.
Looks like it's right out of Heavy Metal.
Yeah, hold on. I'll look for it. One more 40K art. Let's see if I get lucky and his name's right on it.
I think he did a lot of work for 2000 AD.
I think so. Okay, I found the right image. Okay, the same. I'll show it on screen so you guys see what I'm looking at. So the same artist who did this, and I keep forgetting his name, but like, look at that. That is very.
It's S&M. Actually, I think it's kind of Tina Turner. From
look at that. Look at that leg.
What you call it?
Yeah. This is heavy
Mad
metal.
Max.
This is, yeah, very Mad Max. Not that I want to like completely derail the conversation, but did you know that they're making a movie, Furiosa movie?
Which is cool. I actually liked her. I didn't think she should have been in a Mad Max movie, or it should have
been cool
been
if
called
it was
Mad
its own
Max.
franchise from the outset. But since she did start out as a secondary, well, she was actually really the protagonist of the movie, but she was posed as a secondary character. It's I don't know. I'm worried how they're gonna do the script and the writing. I think they're not gonna do her character from Mad Max Fury Road very much justice.
I think she's going to
John
be
Blanche.
a
Thank you,
war.
James Mackin. I don't know why I forget that name too, because it's such a memorable name, John Blanche. Like that should be easy to remember, but it always slips out of my brain. But I love John Blanche's artwork. Like his artwork of 40K is 40K to me. Like when I think of 40K as a visual, I like a lot of people think of like the newer artwork and stuff. I'm sorry, I don't. Like, when I think of the artwork that encompasses and embodies 40K, it's usually John Blanche's work. And the thing is, like, I've seen interviews with him, and he's said, like, he thinks his artwork isn't that good, which pisses me off. It's like, dude, it may not be, like, proportionately perfect, but thematically, aesthetically, coloration, there is nothing more perfect for 40K, my man. I think it's just that thing though, where like artists always like have the own worst critics.
Yeah, John Blanche is really, really good. Yeah, no, the female Space Marines are never going to go anywhere. The modern day isms are never going to go anywhere. It's because they want everything, and GW and Catalyst need to take a huge fucking lesson from Wizards of the Coast. They went woke, and now they're laying off everybody. Gee, surprise. A lot of people don't want to do a module where they go to college or go to prom or are a barista. You know, the Wizards of the Coast is gutting Magic, gutted D&D. They're actually going to... they need to take a lesson. Don't go down this road. And the thing with the pamphlet with the trans-colored battle mech from BattleTech,
yeah, it was
the trans rights or I bites. It was a fanzine that was put together.
Really?
And
okay.
what blew up is they put it on the old Reddit, and the Reddit moderators, no politics, banned it, and that covered a huge kerfuffle. And when the owner of the forum came back, he banned all of his moderators because he didn't like that. And then Catalyst created the official BattleTech forum. You know, they're going after franchises where this shit doesn't work.
I mean,
It's
yeah, like it worked with. Why do you, let me actually? I have my opinion on this, but I want to hear yours first. Why do you think this shit worked for Star Wars, and it's not been working out for them as well for 40K or Battletech?
because Star Wars has always been fanciful. It's at heart, it's a fantasy. There's a lot of grounded stuff like, oh, how to go to light speed and all that whatnot. It was a grounded thing, and then they holdo maneuvered their entire thing. They light speed torpedoed it. And it's not going to... Yeah. It's not going to go.
I agree with that. I would also just add to it. I think that they're not making... Well, not really... well... No, I'll say add to it. I would say that another reason that that's not taking root in 40K or BattleTech as well, and they're getting a lot more pushback, is because the communities are smaller and more tight-knit. Like, as much as people have been saying 40K went mainstream, it really hasn't yet. Like, it's more popular than it ever has, but for it to be mainstream, I think a lot of people confuse something that is still a niche but becoming popular as a niche with being mainstream. What makes something mainstream isn't necessarily like how popular it is, although that is the second biggest factor. The main factor of it, though, is that mainstream media, and not necessarily as in when people say that, usually they mean journalists or news outlets. I'm talking about like the main like streaming platforms, like where you go to a television show and it'll mention this, or you go to a movie and it'll mention something like this or reference it. That's usually when something hits the mainstream. Like D&D for me hit the mainstream with shows like Stranger Things and other and like the movie Dungeons and Dragons. Like when it started,
I think it's even before that. I think it started with the geek pantomime that is Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, like Big Bang Theory. Like once like official media in the zeitgeist, so to speak.
Sorry, I meant to say minstrel show. Minstrel show.
Once those like types of forms start picking up on something, then it's mainstream. Like when it's in the public eye. If something's still just popular on YouTube, whether it gets 1 million views or not, technically speaking, it's not mainstream. Because YouTube, despite how popular YouTube is, how much consumption is done on YouTube these days, it's not yet, because of just anybody can upload still on YouTube, not everything on it is mainstream. But if it hits TV shows, if it hits movies, if it's it doesn't need to be a movie about it, by the way. It doesn't need to be a television show about it. It just needs, like, if popular media in the social zeitgeist reference it, and it gets that public view on it, then it is mainstream. That's what happened to D&D.
Well, that's why I'm worried about Cavill.
Right.
I'm worried about Henry Cavill and Amazon.
Yeah, that is unfortunately the trade-off that's going to happen once that, because it's official that they're working on it now. The deal's signed. So we will, for sure, we don't know what it's going to be, a show or movie. I'm betting on a show. But we are getting a Warhammer 40,000 official mainstream media adaptation. Once that hits, once that launches, then 40K will officially have crossed the mainstream line by my standards. Some people's standards of mainstream is it's just...
I mean, I could buy 40K toys at Walmart. To me, that's mainstream.
Not to me. But again, that's a point of contention between the definitions.
Oh yeah. It's just, and I think they're trying to get a hold into 40K and BattleTech without realizing that there are already strong women in both.
Yeah.
There are already great female characters. Noble Shield Neg Noble Shield Neg. Sorry, BattleTech sayings. I mean, one of my favorite books is basically Dan Abnett writes the Battle of Britain, Double Eagle. Leader of the squadrons, a female leader. You have all of these great, strong female characters, and they're trying to get in and do all of this stuff. And like, oh, well, we need trans people. I'm like, yeah, they don't care. Like, they just don't care.
Most trans people, the only thing that interests them is other trans shit. Like, if you go by social media, like as far as I've seen, trans people only care about trans shit. Like their whole lives is literally around this, what's supposed to be only a small aspect about a person's identity. Like that's all they care about. So, I'm sorry, but how many trans people are jumping into 40K genuinely? 0. And Demon Faye Shay on Twitter is just a woke activist. She's a tourist. She's a fake fan. So
and then you have the people that are I like the tourists, and they latch on to the clans for some sort of reason without realizing that they're all eugenicists. Like the entire clan military structure is a eugenics program. And to be born to be born naturally is actually an insult. They have free birth. They call them free births. And it's so bad. And they're just like, oh, well, look how progressive they are. Like, they're eugenicists. All of them are eugenicists.
I mean, that's actually in line with, like, again, they call it progressive. I call it regressive. But that's in line with progressive ideology is eugenics, so that actually fits.
Yeah, and I don't want to go into the whole how we have a current modern day eugenics program that's going on in the inner city, but they're never going to. I'm not going to say never. We might get a stupid cartoon like the What If series for Marvel. What if there were female Space Marines? And that's how they might be able to worm their way in. I also don't hear them complaining like, oh, how come there are no female Necrons? How come there are no female Orcs? How come there are? Well, no, there
Orcs
are female Tau.
There are female Tau. There are female Tau.
I know that, and one of the most badass women in 40K is a female Tau commander, Shadow Sun. How come there are no female Tyranids? I'm like, are you really kidding me? Most of them are female. Yes, Noble Shield. Technically, there are female Necrons, but no booba, no likey.
Well, it's one of those things, and I'll point it out. And if this was a point that the Wokehammer crowd brought up, again, they'd get agreement from the community. This is why they don't say it. But like a lot of there is a lack of female representation in the models on the tabletop. That's not because of sexism from either the community or GW. It's laziness on GW's part, and it's a point of frustration for us as fans. Because we've wanted female guard models for years, official kits. We've wanted female kits for like Tau. We wanted the magical reason behind that is GW's just lazy. Like they didn't want to take time to actually make all the models we would like for that and to give us that level of variety.
See, I have a different look on that. Is I don't think that they were lazy about it. I look at the current modern military. The only way in full battle rattle you can tell a difference between a male soldier and a female soldier is the female's going to be a little shorter. That's it.
I'd say they'd have a softer face, but I will say this: GW, at least as
well,
far as
I mean,
sculptors
have
are
them
very good at sculpting the face.
Like if you put them in a gas mask, or they have a
Oh, no, if you put-
balaclava on, or something
If
like
you
that.
make a Krieg, there'd be no difference. Like Krieg,
Yeah.
obviously there wouldn't be like as an upgrade sprue for female models, unless you had like a cartoonishly like big boobed one. It's like we have female Krieg. How can you tell? Boom.
Well, it's like when they did the
She has 2 watermelons on her chest.
the female Cadian or Catechin. She had huge bongos. And it's just,
I actually have that model somewhere.
it's like, okay, you want female Space Marines. How are you going to tell that they're female? They're going to be clad in power armor. Oh, well, we want boob armor. I'm like, weren't you just complaining the fact that the sisters had boob plates? Like, you're never going to be able to appease them. And once you try to start appeasing them, you're going to lose. Because your IP is no longer yours. It's now the ideological bent.
Correct. And it'll only ever continue to bend to an ideology that doesn't agree with itself. Like, have you seen this where, let's take Hellstorm Wargamer, for example. Let's say, like, one day, like, he came out and he said he wasn't a huge fan of, what's a good example? He wasn't a huge fan of, like, transgender, not even necessarily like he's against transgender representation in a game, but like, let's say like there was this one thing in the lore of 40k he didn't think fit with it. He's like, well, I don't think transgender orcs make sense. They don't have gender. That's assuming he knows anything about the lore. He doesn't. He literally on his own stream cringed when he had to talk about the lore in a conversation about lore. I know, crazy. But let's say he said that. What would happen from the Warhammer crowd? They'd lose their fucking minds. Like, they would go after him. They say he's nothing but a fucking turf. He's a fake member of their community. Like, they'd shit down his throat. They cannibalize each other the moment they smell any level of blood in the water. They're waiting to jump on each other as much as they're waiting to jump on us. They're not a community. They're a bunch of fucking... Like, they're like locusts.
Just remember, all Space Marines are transhuman. Sorry, I had to do it.
That's fine. Josco himself, what was the stream? Oh yeah, had a clash with a tourist on the BattleTech sub about this the other day. Ended it by asking him what his favorite faction was and why. Crickets. I mean, to be fair, I couldn't answer that either, but that's because I'm not into BattleTech. That's like Kaboose and Tang and Karn's thing. Like, that's not
yet. Not yet. We will get you there, kid. We will get you there.
Sure. 40k is my domain.
Oh yeah, and you know more, like when we had that discussion about the who actually initiated the last wall protocol. You know more about it than I ever will. And that's the thing. We have to hold the line and keep them out of 40k and BattleTech, because they're not going to actually get a hold in BattleTech, because there's no way. Their progressive stuff is okay. Nobody in BattleTech cares because everything's on fire all at the same time. You paint your mech like a trans flag. Okay, cool. That bright color just means you're easier to shoot. Yeah. This is going to go ad nauseum. This time next year, we're going to be having another Oaken mic about the FSMs and just...
not even this time next year. This time next month.
I give it to April. I'll bet you $50. April or May, we have another one.
I'm not taking that bet because it's unpredictable at this point. The spikes come out of nowhere. I'd take a bet if it was a consistent like amount of time they took breaks. But no, like I agree with you though. This is going to be an argument we have to the end of time. This is permanently ongoing.
And then when you ask people Joshko and himself said, when you ask people about, oh, well, what's your favorite faction? Who's your favorite hero? What's your favorite mech or guard? What's your favorite Space Marine hero? And they just go, oh, you're being so exclusionary right now. I'm like, I want to get to know what you like so we could have a conversation. And you just said I'm being exclusionary and called me a bigot. That answers everything I need to know.
Correct. It does. Like they tell on themselves very often.
Oh yeah, and it's sad because I have people that want to get in to 40K, but they keep constantly being shooed away because we have a very left-leaning group around here that has basically a purity test to play, and if you're not the same, if you don't think the same, you're gone. And it's just go out and find your own groups. I don't play Modern 40K. I play 5th edition, 5th and 4th edition. Sometimes I play 2nd and 3rd just because the Chaos Space Marines rules were so much better.
I play the Modern Edition, but I only play it because it's what my local tournament scene. My tournament scene always rolls with the latest edition. There's very few rollbacks to older editions. I think it's just the policy of the stores. It's like, okay, we'll just go with the latest stuff.
Yeah, but when we play,
I still have 2 other callers waiting, man. I do gotta.
Nope.
Yeah. So, but I think it was a great conversation, man. It was.
I see how it is. You're just trying to get rid of me. Mm-hmm. Just always just chatting it and leaving me. Oh, all right, I'll talk to you later, brother.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye. Excuse me. All right. Is there anything I should grab for comments in chat? Be like the end of the Lion King. What? You cannot clone with a Vitae womb. No. Okay, so I'm assuming like there was a small conversation about how the Kriegs work. Krieg are not clones. They're not like clone troopers. They reproduce normally, and they also have access, which is rare, because the Administratum is very restrictive of its use, but they have use to a technique. That's what it's described as in the lore. I have to remind people about that. They have access to a technique called the Vitae Womb. Vitae Womb, I'm not sure what it is. That's the thing. The lore actually hasn't explicitly described Vitae Wombs as far as I've seen. That might have been in a newer book, but as far as its original reference, as I recall, it's not explicitly laid out. From the name, we can make assertions of what it is. The one thing that always catches me, because my assumption first off with Vitae Wombs is, okay, it's an artificial womb that, given 40K's usual themes with this and like body horror, it's probably attached to a living female woman, and it probably acts as like basically it's like an additional womb onto her current one. Again, like, this is pure assertion because the lore doesn't explicitly take it out. It's up to you to conjure up whatever horrific thing it is, because it is supposed to be horrific. But it's referred to as a technique used to increase the productivity, if you want to use that word, of humans being birthed from women. It's, again, I think it's actually better that GW does leave it kind of vague what the fuck it is, and I do find it telling it's called a technique, so that tells me it's not like explicitly like grafting on. It might still be like grafting on like biological components, and then part of the technique part of it is how it's used, but regardless, it's kind of vague. But what we do know is it's not like a cloning thing. I think the community kind of like, you see it in artwork and little comics people have made about Krieg, but I think, as far as I know, in canon lore, Krieg are not cloned. The Vitae Womb thing is what is used, and that increases the number of them born every year, and it's quite a high number. Like, their birth rate is extremely high. But again, it's at the cost of using whatever the hell this horrific thing is called a Vitae womb. So they're not clones. Like I don't think that's what a Vitae womb is. It's not an artificial womb that's separate from a human body. Again, I think it's something like grafting on another womb to a woman. It's that's what my imagination conjures up. That might be me being fucked up, but it's 40k. It is fucked up. So like Demiculaba, but for Greek, pretty much. That's been another thing people have like theorized about Vitae wombs. Is like it's like Demenculaba, but for Krieg. And not just Krieg. It is used in other places in the Imperium, but its usage is restricted. Like the Inquisition look after the process and its use. If that gives you any kind of tell of what it is. So whatever it is, it increases the birth rate. So the Kriegs aren't clones. They're just birthed at an extremely high rate. So I'd say clones is the wrong term. They're probably more like a lot of them are probably actual siblings of each other though. Like that's probably what part of the Vitae womb thing is because like again, they're all individuals born, but like think of it like this, each woman giving birth to with a Vitae womb attachment, that's how I see it. One woman is probably giving birth to like 24 children within, I want to say, like a few months time. Like it's like a woman is directly being used as a baby making machine, and in a horrific literal manner. Yeah, it might be something like that. Noble Shield. Maybe it's like it lets 9 women have a baby in 1 month, like how managers think resources work. It might be, but again, we don't know. Like, this is one of those things that 40k, as far as I know, has been vague about it, and I think they should be vague about it, because imagine the horrors the imagination can conjure up of what a Vitae womb is. Well, it's like Exodal tanks from Dune, hardly first time GW borrows from Frank Herbert. No, they've las guns, yeah. They've stolen straight from Dune, like at nauseum. I'm aware of that, yeah. I thought they all had the same DNA, and one guy was the pet. Well, they do, but that again, that's because they're siblings. It's not because they're clones. Like it's not the exact same DNA, but it's the same DNA patterns because they're all coming from the same hosts, mothers. That's how I've understood it. I don't know if an official canon has been mentioned anywhere they're clones. I know of the Vitae wombs, and that's what they've been given access to. But like cloning vats and machines, like that's a community thing that people kind of conjured up. And I think that comes from the fact that Vitae wombs weren't clear what they were. So I think some of the community interpret them, and I can't say they're wrong. I think they are, but I can't say that they are wrong because GW hasn't elaborated on what the hell a Vitae womb is, and the descriptor of it is it's a technique. I don't know what that is. My imagination is I go with the most grim, dark, horrific conclusion, but some people have just been like, oh, it's like a cloning vat machine. For me, I don't think it's that simple, because that would be rather pedestrian and boring, and 40k usually, at least traditionally, went for the darkest, most horrific like ends for what something is. So that's why I think Vitae wombs are, especially with a descriptor like technique, I think it is like something is attached to a biological woman, and it might even be a biological female servitor. Like it may not be like a living woman who's just forced into this miserable existence. It might be a servitor that's being used to birth out Kriegsmen ad nauseum. But it's all on how you envision it. That is one of those things where it's vague. More grimdark, the better. Yeah, that's why I think I'm right. Like, because I think cloning isn't as grimdark. Like, that's in fucking Star Wars. Like, that's not inappropriate, like, idea for children. But I think I tend to assume on the grimdark side for 40k. And for Vitae wombs being described as a technique and knowing it's supposed to be its most grimdark conclusion, that's what I think it is. I do think it's probably not. Again, I do assume it's a servitor female body that's being used as a literal machine to pump out Kriegsmen. I don't think it's like a living woman with like her consciousness still active. Like the Imperium is cruel and evil, but not only in a practical sense. Like it wouldn't impractically leave a woman conscious and aware of the horrors of her body's use like that intentionally. There'd be no benefit to that. Like if anything, it might cause issues in the process. So I would see them doing the lobotomy thing. But that's me. Anyway, gonna bring on our next guest. I cannot see your full name, my guy. Who is this?
Havoc.
Havoc. Ah, see. Yeah, YouTube, Discord's doing that thing where they're hiding the names on me.
Oh, that's quite alright. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you? You've been listening in, I assume?
I have, yeah. I mean, as far as like the topic of like female space marines and people like not following up on, you know, hey, have a debate. It's rather unfortunate that they choose to do so. I mean, I think it'd be a rather beneficial discussion, you know, so we can correct that attempt. But it's also just kind of a recycled argument at this point. I mean, they can bring up their same old talking points, and it's going to be, you know, we have the counters to those talking points already. I do wish that Arch had done a little bit better with his debate, but hey, it is what it is.
He's a gentleman, and the thing is, he went in for gentlemanly debate with an ungentlemanly debater. He went into a blood sports whereas he was hoping to go in for a real debate.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I do have to echo the sentiment that a few of the other callers have already made, that it's going to be a debate that's just going to keep going.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Sargon's video, The Politics of 40K?
Yes, I have watched that.
Yeah, I think it was actually more and more becomes apt where he like made the comment of like they're the ruinous powers of progressivism. Like they're just going to keep constantly pounding the gates of Cadia, more or less, when it comes to female space marines.
This is going to be a fight never ending, unfortunately. The woke don't know how to surrender or give up. It's, I guess you could call that a virtue of theirs. I call it annoying. But yeah, they're going to keep this up. But again, like I keep reminding people, they're still the minority. Like, they'll never give up the argument, but that doesn't matter because they'll never... Like, they're building a foundation on water. Like, they don't have a basis for their... In universe or in hobby space, they don't have any foundation for their arguments. So they'll always lose the argument. They can continue to pound against the gate all they want, but when you're pounding against a large metal gate with feathers, does it really do anything?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that sort of the momentum might decrease over the next few years as they're kind of like losing the culture war a fair bit. But yeah, it'll continue on. Although I would give some encouragement to the people, the BattleTech people, because Catalyst is pretty woke, but they're also like the temporary custodians of BattleTech. Razorfist made a good video on that actually a couple months ago, I think.
I haven't seen it, so I will have to take your word on that one.
Yeah. I think it was like something on like Catalyst. Actually, I have to look back at the title of it. But I think one of the things raised earlier in the discussion was like, why did 40K resist a little bit better than things like Star Wars? And I think the mainstream section is definitely a part of that. And I think also too, just 40K have enough, like 40K fans have enough dealing with GW. They're kind of used to pushing back on things just a little bit.
Yeah. They have their track record.
Yeah. For me, at least, as far as like seeing how things develop, like Star Wars has always kind of had that thing where they tended to follow whoever was the most official source, generally speaking. Even if somehow GW accepted like female Space Marines, I don't think that the fan base would still accept it. I think they just continue on doing their own thing.
Yeah, and they should keep doing that. I am worried for when... I don't know if you are as well. I'm worried as I am excited. This is the thing that I have mixed feelings about it, but the Henry Cavill coming series and or movie for 40K. For Amazon, I have worries about that ad nauseum.
I definitely don't like that it's Amazon, and I know Amazon's going to try something. Even if they had an exact clause in their agreement or something that like there will be no female Space Marines, they'll try something.
Oh yeah. My at this point, I'm less worried them trying female Space Marines. Like I don't think they're gonna try that their first outing. They might work their way to it or try to. But my fear is other avenues of wokeness that they can approach and make the argument it's lore accurate. For example, Sisters of Battle. Like, if in whatever show or movie that comes out and there's a Sister of Battle involved, my fear is they're going to make a Sister of Battle a Mary Sue bitch.
That's entirely possible.
A man-hating Mary Sue bitch. Like, for me, that'd be the equivalent of tearing down... like Superman and making him into a femboy, or something similar to that. I'm afraid that they're going to make gross, perverted caricatures, and not perverted in the sexy way, perverted in the political sense.
Yeah.
Like they're going to turn our favorite characters and archetypes in 40K into political talking pieces and mouthpieces.
You know, it's kind of funny about that. Referencing the Ruinous Powers thing, the more they continue to try to do that, the more that they kind of make it the case of, like, okay, you didn't, like, we originally were going to say, like, 40K wasn't at all relatable to the real world, but you guys keep making it more relatable because you guys are the invading powers against the fan base, so they're the Imperium. As far as like whether they'll try this stuff, I'm pretty sure that they will. I think the ultimately comes down to how much power does Cavill himself have? Is he going to be just like the poster boy of the project with no power, or is he going to be, you know, the guy calling the shots? I'm sure that the streaming service itself. Go ahead, sorry.
We know he's going to be an executive producer, which a lot of people are unfamiliar with what that is. So, an executive producer has more power than the director in a lot of cases, because executive producers often are part of the budget. They're one of the parties that fund the project. Now, not always. Executive producers are not always necessarily the funders, but they might be the founder. Like, executive producer as a title means that rank-wise you're above the director and you're above normal producers. Usually it's because you fund the project, but not always. Sometimes it's because you might be the original creator of the project, so you get that. For example, George R.R. Martin, he's listed as an executive producer on House of the Dragon. That's because it's not because, as far as I know, he didn't fund it. Like, HBO still funded it. But he is listed as an executive producer because he is directly involved with the marketing. He's directly involved with the discussions for the directors. He provides the source material, and as he is the creator, he also has say in how the product is displayed to the audience. So that makes him an executive producer. I would say Henry Cavill's case, I don't know. I think he is helping to fund it. I don't know if that's been reiterated anywhere. I don't think so anymore, now that Amazon has fully taken over as the production aspect. So as he's serving as executive producer right now, my assumption is he's taken on the role, because he got consent from GW. He's taken on that same role that George R.R. Martin did for House of the Dragon. Except, you know, obviously he didn't create 40K, but he's their representative. He's GW's representative on the production side of things. So he is the George R.R. Martin of this upcoming project.
I think there's two factors that'll really make decisions, and that is he the executive producer or just a executive producer? I think Arch made that point as well.
He's the only one listed so far.
Right. I'm just saying that's the thing to look out for, and also to I think Amazon's studios as well has their own contracts where like you have to fulfill certain boxes of like diversity, and that'll probably have an effect on the show itself as well.
Oh well. The thing is, they can check every box and still make it lore friendly, though.
Yeah, if you do like Imperial Guard, probably.
Yeah, not even just Superior Guard. You can still do it with Space Marines. You just, the female. If you add female characters, they can't be the Space Marines.
Right.
Like, but you can check every box. Like, this is how I see it. If Henry is given a set of checkboxes that he has to check, it'll probably piss him off. He probably doesn't want to do it that way, but he can technically, assuming like we don't know how they write up their contracts. If they write up in the margins that you have to do it in an exact specific way, and it's like doing the Doctor Who representation shit in like the most recent seasons, where they have to act and say and do certain things, like they have to put down the male characters, they have to be bitches, they have to be cunts. If they put it down in that level of specificity, then this project's fucked. Like, it's doomed. But if it's literally just you need to have at least one black character for every 2 white characters, or the other way around, or if they have it like that, I think, like, if Henry is smart enough, he's able to satisfy their checkboxes while still giving us a lore-accurate, fun-as-hell adaptation of 40k. But it's going to be like, it's walking on eggshells.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be a fair bit of clever play on his part, which I'm crossing my fingers, hoping and praying he can do that.
Yeah, he should be able to. Like if you gave me those parameters, assuming I had the budget, right?
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely could use that again. Not necessarily against them, but I could definitely satisfy on a written contract level. I could satisfy those checkboxes and still give you a good 40k project.
Right.
Like I have to have a black character. Okay. I have a salamander here. I have to have at least 5 females. All right, Sisters of Battle. Like, I could work with it and still make it 40k.
Yeah, and I mean, even if, like, say, worst case scenario, they have, like, a really terrible, like, woke show, like, they make the Rings of Power 2.0.
Oh, please no.
Well, yeah, let's hope not. But let's say that scenario comes to be. I find it very unlikely that the show would be successful, and so it would end up torpedoing just like the Ultramarines movie did, so it may not affect it too much after that.
Oh yeah, there was an Ultramarine. I forgot that existed.
Yep.
I've seen that. Isn't that free on YouTube still? It was for a time.
I'm not sure it is, but I mean, if it's on the same level as the Ultramarines movie or worse, then
okay,
I don't think I'm too worried.
For those uninitiated, there is and GW sanctioned it, right? I'm pretty sure they did.
I'm pretty sure they did, yeah.
Yeah, there's an official GW sanctioned movie. Like, it is a movie. And it is about the Ultramarines. And it is, like, if you're an Ultramarines fan, I feel bad for you for once. Like, I feel bad for you. That movie is so bad. Like, oh my god. It is so fucking bad.
I think even Dan Abnett was a writer on it. Like, oof.
Ooh, it's aged like milk. It's CGI even at the time it came out, which was horrible. No, don't look at it. If you have any level of self-respect and you are a fan of 40k, even passively, it'll kill you on the inside a little bit. It's almost. It's not quite, but it's almost so bad it's good. Like, it's almost so cartoonishly bad, it's good. Unfortunately, it just doesn't cross that line like The Room does. It almost does, but it takes itself just seriously enough, it's just bad.
You are tearing me apart, Gilliman.
It really feels like it's so bad. Oh. I try and forget his existence every day.
Yeah, like I said, worst case scenario with the Cavill show, I'm gonna assume it's gonna end up like that, or like Rings of Power, where Rings of Power wasn't enough to really shake the foundations of Lord of the Rings fans either.
Right. And listen, if it does fail, I don't think it'll be because of Henry Cavill.
No, not at all.
Like, it may sound like I'm being a fanboy right now. I'm not. Like, I've listened to the man speak about Warhammer. Like, he brought up a Blackstone fortress while looking at a chandelier that admittedly did look like one. Like, you don't do that because someone said, hey, we want you to sound good about this. Say this. No, that's something a fan says in the way he said it. Like that,
Mhm.
he's real. I believe it. I believe it fully. He's real. And plus, I've seen.
Oh, yeah,
his...
didn't he? I think he had like a Warhammer game with the Spider-Man actor too, Tom Holland. I think.
Oh yeah. He's forced a lot of his co-stars to play it, and they've commented about it in the past. This is a man like who is genuinely a nerd like us, and I hate the fact that he's a nerd like us and looks like he does.
Right.
I am jealous of that man's physique. But yeah, like if this project, whatever it ends up being, a film, television show, makes sense for it to be a show to me. That seems to be Amazon's bread and butter lately, is less movies, more shows. And plus it's really hard to tell any succinct 40K story in a film.
Mhm.
So I think it would benefit to do a show that's intended to be multiple seasons. So
Yeah, I can see that.
if it fails though, and if it is like a Rings of Power 2.0 or it's an Ultramarines movie 2.0 or worse, I genuinely will assume, and I don't even like unless evidence comes out to the contrary, I will assume it going forward that it was because he was he was excited for this project, he was ready to go, he had maybe a cast in mind, he had a story in mind, and then other producers or Amazon representatives just swung on in like fucking just kind of steal from text-to-speech device, like the fucking Pillarman Custodes.
Right.
Just and they came in with their poses of like pink hair and pierced
Oh,
navels. and
hello,
shit.
little Cavill.
It's like just fucking. Oh god, I will assume that easily that they just came in and ruined it for him.
I
Now,
agree.
for-
I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I will feel so bad for him. But that
Yeah.
is a huge danger with working with Amazon, especially with their diversity mandates.
More than likely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'll hold up the next caller, by the way. I just want to step in and say hello and say, yeah, I think just need to hold the line on this one. Like can't really run anymore to like other, to, like, even if we make something new or make something better than Warhammer somehow, they'll still covet it and still come attack it and try to steal it.
Oh yeah.
So
So
You just can't run.
Your call was great, man. And I appreciate what you brought up. It was a fun conversation.
yeah, it's nice talking with you.
Nice
Have a
talking
good
with you too. Have a good one. Alrighty. Excuse me. Alright. Got it on DVD. You got the movie on DVD. Please tell me you have it like in a for me, if I had like a hollowed out but openable case wise, like Necronomicon thing, I would put in the center of it the Ultramarines movie. Like if I had like a mock one, like from Evil Dead, if I had the Necronomicon, I would like open it up and there would be like in this pristine little wrought iron cage on the inside of it, just the Ultramarines movie. Like I would have it there as a trophy. That and like a copy of Fire Warrior. Like, what evils lie in this tome? And you open it up and there's the Ultramarines movie. You open it up and it's like the fucking opening of the Ark of the Covenant from Indiana Jones. Anyway, phone in Tang. And Tang is going to be our last caller for today. Tang, welcome aboard. How you doing?
Hello. Well, yeah, I'm doing good. You know, late in the evening.
Oh, yeah, I'm actually surprised you're still up. But
Well, honestly, I didn't think I was going to add anything to this open mic because, you know, we have gone through this for, like, God knows how many times.
I mean, I could hear you repeat the same points over and over again and be happy about it. So.
Yeah.
It's like a broken record, but one that has a really good tune.
Right. The more I see the whole thing, the more I think that the only answer to this whole problem is what I call the R34 protocol, where every time someone asks for female Space Marines, we just dig up the largest amounts of, let's say, not safe for work, like sexy artwork we can, and just bombard them with it.
Because like, here, you filthy animals.
Yeah. Because what do they want? They want female Space Marine. What do they hate? The female form. It's like, there you go. And just hear the ringing in the distance, like, sexist. It's like, yeah, that's what you wanted, didn't it? Wasn't it? Like, what do you want?
it's like oh, vampires are coming. Grab garlic. Everyone's just
Like
pelting it.
basically
Ah!
we'll do basically we'll do the Overwatch on them.
That would be
It's like you
hilarious.
wanted it, you didn't know what you wanted.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
funny.
And also, on another point that you said, like later on, you asked why what was the difference between the Star Wars thing going haywire, and how would it compare to, let's say, Warhammer and BattleTech?
Yeah.
Now, I will probably anger a lot of people when I say this, but Star Wars is a glorified fanfic website who just got out of hand. There's no basis in it, there's no rules in it. People just do whatever they want, and if horny teenagers like it, they just add it. It has no substance, and that's why it fell so easy, because there was no basis.
This is probably the first time I'm going to say this during the open mic show. But my viewers' comments do not reflect my own. Any pitchforks and torches are not to come my way.
I would say this as a caveat. I'm a scientist, and Star Wars science just bugs the crap out of me. So I'm not gonna go into that. Anyway, moving on. I think that's why I think that Warhammer and BattleTech and stuff like that would not fall as easily, because they are based on such a solid foundation. Like,
not of science, though. I mean, I can't. No.
I mean, story foundation.
Right. They are absolutely.
Which is based on things like, I can start commenting on the science of Warhammer from my point of view, and I can have debate with people on the other side, and we can still keep inside the lore. Because the lore, there are things that can be debated, but they're still inside the lore, and we can give arguments from the lore point of view. Like, let's take the whole Vitae wombs that you said with the Vraxians.
The Krieg.
Now, the Krieg, sorry, the Vraxian, not the Krieg. You went with the body horror,
right? Which
sometimes I think a lot of people overstate the body horror of Warhammer and understate the tech horror. Because for me, a lot. First of all, if we go with your idea, the production capabilities of Krieg are going to decrease massively, because then you multiply the. First of all, you lose a lot of women in the workforce, and second of all, you only multiply their capabilities by, let's say, a factor of 20. Now, if you take just the technology as basically a bubble of glass or polymer or whatever it is, you extract the female and male reproductive cells, you mix them up, so we're like one female, one male, and just put them in the cell to grow a human. For me, that is much more horrible, because then you create a flashback that has never experienced human touch, never have heard the mother's heartbeat, never heard never felt the warmth of the mother, never got any emotions from it, like any hormones. It's basically a robot in human flesh, which has been produced with one purpose: to go and die for the Emperor. Which for me is much more horrible.
Pretty much is Krieg.
And also, in that's the only way how I can explain they can produce as many people as possible, because from there you can use one male and one female to produce, I don't know, 10,000 soldiers for a month, just from one pair.
Yeah, I'm not sure on the science part of it, like with real life science, but
I can give you examples in real life that we're trying to do that at this moment. So it doesn't really matter. The fact is, we can argue in lore entirely.
Right.
Like, we can give arguments from lore, and that's because the lore is rich. It's based, and it has so many rules that level it and make it stable.
Right.
That is why it's much more capable of resisting attacks, because any attack needs to fight with a lot of arguments. Like, we can have hours and hours and hours of discussion why this can work and why this cannot work, still remaining inside the lore without any touch of outside, like, real life science. And usually the tourists are the people that cannot do that. Like, they don't have enough arguments to counter just the amount of arguments we have.
Correct.
That's why I think that the whole
That's because
idea
we
is-
actually know, like, we know what we're referencing because we're actually fans.
Well,
These
yes.
these tourists don't know what we're referencing.
And also, the universe itself is built with the idea that it's building on top of itself. So it starts with the premise, and the premise is built with rigorous rules. Which any person that says, "Oh, it's just fantasy, you can do whatever you like." Okay, have you ever read a book?
Yeah,
Which
I
I
hate
think
that point
A lot
as
of
well.
people
'Cause
haven't.
I don't know if you'd agree with this, but this is like my opinion. This is across fiction. This isn't just 40K. Whether it's magic, like straight D&D, like fantasy universe, what have you, or it's something science fiction meant to be more based in realistic science, or it's meant to be pseudoscience, whatever. Whenever you have a system or a magic system or high magic system, like sciencey magic, doesn't matter. If your universe or your setting or your fiction doesn't have rules, then it can't be understood or connected to by anybody. Because that, like, there is a question about like relatability in fiction, and they try and use that with like the gender thing. That's not the case. But there is something that there are fundamentals that you have to have that are relatable to humans. That if you don't have, your universe will not thrive because we just simply won't be able to connect to it on a serious or emotional level. And that has nothing to do with gender. That has nothing to do with immutable characteristics. That has nothing to do with reflecting oneself in the universe. No. But it does have everything to do with like laws of physics, the way things work in a setting. Like, we have to have a basic understanding of the functionality of things. And if there aren't rules, if there aren't a strand line of like, okay, this is how this works, and you don't hold true to those rules and they change at any moment for convenience sake, then no one will take the setting seriously, because now it has nothing, like, no, there's nothing framing it. There's nothing holding it firm to any kind of understanding. It's just it fluctuates for fluctuation's sake. And that's another reason why we shouldn't cave to female Space Marines. Even against all the politics, against all that other stuff, that's a huge one. Because it's one of the few lore-wise consistencies we've had over the course of Warhammer 40k's existence. And if we give that up, we give up one of the few framing devices, one of the few concrete rules we've been given in the universe, and allow it to break, not for an in-universe reason, not for a logical reason, not for a hobby improvement reason, but for a real-world political ideological reason.
Yep. And that is part of the reason why I'm getting more and more solid on the idea that if we want to counteract that, using the lore and the arguments from inside the lore would show people from that are outside that we have, like, that what our position is in lore. However, if we want to curtail those attacks, we should counteract them with the thing we know they don't like. It's like they say, "Oh, we want female representation." Okay, let's give them female representation that they hate, and let's make them tell everyone why they hate this female representation, to show everyone that they don't want female representation, they just want power over the setting. Because we gave them what they wanted, they rejected it. That's why I argue, if every time someone gives a Twitter or was like, "Oh, I want female Space Marines," okay, give them the lewdest female Space Marine possible and ask them, why don't you want that? Explain. I gave you female Space Marines, there they are. Oh, but it's, nope, okay, you want them more cover up, okay, another loot point. Why won't you want that? And then they will revert back into their own, "Oh, but I don't want the female form, I don't want them sexualized." Like, Okay, so how would they say they're female? Oh, we just say it's like, okay, so why don't you just do that? It's like, oh, we want it official. Like, there you go. So you want the power to say what is and what isn't without regard for anyone else. You just want your fanfic to become reality. And there we go. The moment they say that, the moment we just say, okay, we won.
Yep.
But yeah, it's gonna be just a recurring thing. So, whatever. Anyway, it's just every time someone comes with an idea that, especially with the debate stuff, like when I watched Arch's debate, I would say Arch did a very good job of pointing out the like giving the reasons. However, for me, he kind of lost the debate on debating principles. It's like he was fighting a politician with science and logic, which we know doesn't work.
Yeah, he brought good arguments to the wrong fight.
Yes. Well, the whole idea was broken in the first place because every time someone says, "Oh, let's do a debate," they never do a debate.
No.
Because debate has actual rules. And for debate, you need to. I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but the first thing about debating is setting up the topic and setting up the definitions.
Right. But
And
we
if
had
you
this
don't have the
conversation
definition-
during the Rad Home.
I'm not gonna go again into this. You know what I'm talking about. So
Yeah, I do. If you guys want to hear Tang's full breakdown of that, it's in the Rad Home. I did an open mic. There's a two-parter. I think it's in the part 2. It's at the end of part 2. But Tang goes into his full detail on this.
Oh yeah. Go watch that video.
Yeah, that's there. It's very good, but reiterating it here.
Right. Oh God, we're turning into YouTubers.
I already am one. What are you talking about?
Oh, I am. That's what I'm saying.
Let me know when you start your channel.
No, thanks. Anyway, yeah, I think that's basically covers it.
Okay. Thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it as always.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, and have a good rest of the day, I guess.
It'd be nighttime, right? It's dark out.
No,
But,
yeah, I need to go to sleep as well. So
you get some rest, because you are been up late, my friend.
will do.
All right. Have a good night.
Well done.
All right, so that was our last caller. I will say this: the link to the call line Discord is still in the description. So if you guys want to come on next time I do an open mic, feel free to still join up over there. But yeah, like we had a really good stream today, guys. Really good stream. We had a lot of really high quality callers come on. We had really high quality conversations. Yeah, and it's good to see that the community is holding firm, and we're holding firm and pushing back against the bullshit. It's beautiful. Lord Metal said it himself earlier that we're starting to see the everyday hobbyist start to stand up and go, okay, wait a minute. No, enough of this shit. No, we don't need female Space Marines. No, we don't need this garbage. No, we don't need that. No, we don't. Like, we're starting to see the pushback. And that's beautiful. That's beautiful. We're starting to see the pushback against the wokies. And them trying to subvert, manipulate, and alter our hobby for no better reason than their own political ideology. And they've straight up admitted that as of recent. Was one thing Mikey did say, I'm assuming you mean Hellstorm Wargaming, did say on Friday night stream he was compare Halo Spartan to 40k Space Marine in that way. In what way? Good thing GW are on our side. Of course they're on our side. We actually pay them. GW will always be on the side that pays the most. And the people who pay the most are actual fans. Dedicated fans will always pay the most. Till you ruin the thing that they're a fan of. with Star Wars and EU stuff. It had lore and examples. I think it is a taste thing, though. For similar reasons that you don't like Star Wars, well, Hang doesn't like Star Wars. I don't care for Game of Thrones or A Song of Ice and Fire. And I do like A Song of Ice and Fire. I like the books. And I also like Game of Thrones, the show, through season... well, I'll say like part of season 5. Mostly up to season 4. Pretty firmly. Everything after that went downhill. Oh, he say they got female Spartans. Compare that to FSM idea in 40k, which is dumb. It is dumb because in Halo, they established both genders could survive the surgeries and survive the genetic manipulation. Like, they established that. Like, that was never against the grain for Halo. So, I like, yeah, that's completely dumb. Also, the complexity of the genetic changes. Spartans are a lot less genetically altered than Space Marines are. The process is far less complicated, but even within the setting's own rules, Halo never established that only boys could survive the process. Like, that was never a rule with Spartans. Whereas with 40k, that is a rule. And breaking it now, there's no in-universe or in-community reason. There's only political reasons, and nobody wants a change or as they would call it, an addition, added when it has no tangible benefit. Spartans are based on a gene if you're looking at Spartan 2s. Spartan 3s are refined and do not require the gene. Yeah, I'll be honest. I only know like the broad strokes of Halo lore for like that stuff. Again, when you talk to me about like lore for stuff, you can talk to me about Star Trek. I know a ridiculous amount about Star Trek. Obviously, pre-Discovery days, J.J. Abrams days. Like, you ask me about any of the 90s shows, I've watched all of Star Trek pre-modern fuckery. And other than that, you could also talk to me about Warhammer 40k. I know a shit ton about 40k to a ridiculous standard. And, yeah, like, there's settings I know a shit ton about, but Halo is not one of my strongest suits. I like Halo. I like the game stories, like, that we experience in the video games. But, you know, I would say I'm a fan of Halo, but I'm not, like, a hardcore fan, if that makes sense. But, alright, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up there. We had a great stream. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like before you guys head out. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. Always love to have new people join. And, yeah. I was going to stream more tonight in regards to working on my World Eaters, because I now have a 2-week deadline to get all of my World Eaters done. Because I have a tournament coming up at the end of the month on the 28th that I'm going to. And I'm hoping to use my World Eaters, but if they're not all assembled and painted, I'm not going with them, because I refuse to play with unpainted models. That'll cause me to lose my shit. So, it's a pet peeve of mine. You got Angron ready? No, I have to get him ready. He's still in the box. That's the thing. Most of my World Eaters are in the box. You want to see the one World Eaters thing that's assembled and painted? And it's not even finished yet, but it's my Mauler Fiend. It's this bad boy. Like, he's not even done yet. I'm not satisfied with that paint job yet. I still got to add for the I still got to add the blood for the blood god effects. I got to fix some of the damage I did to the base because some of the glue came off. Like, I got to finish this guy up. Yeah, I got a little it's hard to tell because of the camera, but like there's a little I also have like an Eye of Sauron looking thing on his rump. That's painted, by the way. That's not a sticker or a decal. I painted that on. He's not even done. But this is the one World Eaters thing I have finished so far. I still have the rhinos. I have 30 corn berserkers I have to do. I have 20 jackals I have to do. There's 10 in the combat patrol, and I just ordered 10 more so I could pad out my army for the 2K tournament. I have Angron to do. I have 10 Terminators to do. I have got shit to do. I have got shit to do for my fucking World Eaters army. That look cool. Yeah, thank you. I actually have, again, if you're new to my channel, I do painting streams. I've been working on that on streams. So feel free to check out my streams. I mostly ramble and gab on them. I do bulk of the painting off stream. But I do painting on the stream as well. And, you know, I chat and gab. So be on the lookout for those. I'll probably do one tomorrow before I go to work. But as for tonight, I'm going to work on my World Eaters tonight off stream. I'm kind of like, I've talked a lot, obviously, for this open mic. We've been going for 3 hours, so it's used up a lot of my voice. It's used up a lot of my energy. So probably going to do some assembly and might finish painting my Mauler Fiend tonight. But yeah, I'm going to do that tonight, wrap up, and got some 8-bound. I do not, unfortunately. It's like one of the few World Eaters things I don't have at the moment. I plan on getting them, but I won't get them in time for the tournament. So I'm just going to stick with my Jackals, my Berserkers, Karn. Karn's almost done painting as well. But I got Karn, I got Angron. Yeah, 30 Berserkers, 20 Jackals, the Chaos Rhino. I got a Hellbrute from the CSM Combat Patrol. I'm going to make World Eaters as well, so... Yeah, it's gonna be a hefty army. I don't know if I definitely don't know if I'm gonna be able to succeed in 14 days, 13 really now, putting together and painting the whole army. But I'm gonna damn well I'm gonna try. I really want to play this tournament with World Eaters, so I'm gonna try my damnedest. But anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up there, guys. Hope you guys had a great time. Hope you subscribed. Hope you leave a like. Hope you're all having a wonderful night, and keep on the gatekeeping, guys. Gatekeep out the fake fans like Hellstorm Gaming. Keep it up, guys. Keep it up. Love ya.